I have a lot of friends who are sober, a lot of friends who are straight edge, a lot of my friends who are going through it. I know struggling with substance abuse and alcoholism can be really, really hard, especially knowing who to turn to. It can be really, really daunting. I'm here to say that a good friend of mine and his friend started this incredible treatment center called Refine Recovery. They gave me a phone number, 855-516-3332. You can text, you can call them. It's totally confidential. It's safe. There'll be somebody on the other line to help you out, a compassionate human being to talk to help you navigate the process, the insurance treatments. They accept most of private insurances. You can go refinerecovery.com, Refine Recovery Instagram. I know it's hard, but reach out to somebody, man. People care about you. People love you. People want you to be here for a long time. People love you in their lives. If you're going through it, make this phone call. It's totally private. I know people DM me all the time about going through it and going through sobriety and trying to get straight and trying to take care of themselves. And the struggle is totally real. And Refine Recovery is the definitely move. Reach out to them, 855-516-3332, or text them, 855-516-3332. You can call or text this number anytime, 855-516-3332. You know the drill. This number is here for you to call. As we get older, we start paying attention to what we put in our bodies. I personally have been listening to my body since I was 18 when I went vegan. I've always been focused on my health. It's super important, mental and physical health. But it's really important for people who are just starting to get more healthy and trying to step up their life. Doing your homework, reading the labels, researching and verifying everything that's quality. It's part of the game these days. That's why I started drinking AG1s. I'm so proud to have them sponsor my podcast. AG1 is a foundational nutrition supplement that delivers daily nutrients and gut support and is backed by multiple research studies so you can trust what you're putting into your body. We're all so busy these days, so just throw a pack of AG1 in the morning into a cup of water and shake it up and drink it. I love the way it tastes. I do it every single morning. It's part of my routine. I bring the packets on tour. It's an incredible life changer for me. Many supplements only reference research from ingredients in their product, but I trust AG1 in my daily routine because it's constantly putting the formula to the test. It's backed by multiple research studies, and one of those research studies, AG1 was shown to have double the amount of healthy bacteria in the gut, which is super important because these help digestion in the immune system and the immune health. And these bacteria are known to help with digestion as well, gas and bloating, which I freaking need. And it also promotes regular bowel movements, what I can attest to. In another research study, 97% participants felt more energy after 30 days, and 91% of the participants noticed that they needed less coffee after 60 days. I quit coffee like 5 months ago. I know I'm good on that. But AG1 is packed with a variety of nutrient-dense ingredients and is the perfect complement to my healthy diet. I drink it because I know it's going to work, and it gives me a peace of mind covering all my nutrition bases for the day. In fact, I trust it so much, that's why I'm spreading the word about it. That's why it sponsors my podcast. Thanks to Angie Huberman for turning me on to AG1s, connecting me with them, and now they're part of my podcast. It's so easy and satisfying to start your day with AG1s. Try AG1 and get a free 1-year supply of the vitamin D3K2 and 5 free AG1 travel packs with your purchase at drinkag1.com/OLLC. That's drinkag1.com/OLLC. It's never been a better time to focus on your health and wellness and get back on track, man. Take control of your daily health. Health is wealth. Got to give a big shout out to Liquid Death. I've been in a band called H2O for 30 years, and my first real job with a company is a water brand. Go figure. Love you, Liquid Death. Love the people. Love the brand. Love the concept. Love what they give back. Love the community. Love what they do for the environment. You can go liquiddeath.com/OLLC and get free shipping on any of their merchandise that they make. They have such incredible collabs. Also, if you want to hear the story of the CEO, my good friend Mike Cesario, on the podcast, you can go to episode 115, part 1. And then 2 years later, we dropped a part 2, which is episode 275 with the CEO, Mike Cesario. Just a man from Delaware with a dream, worked at a marketing company, and made this become a reality. Liquid Death is an incredible company, incredible water, incredible people, and I'm super, super honored to be part of them. They sponsor my life, they sponsor everything, my family. So go liquiddeath.com/OLLC and get free shipping on anything you want to buy on that site. If you want to get water, it's exclusively on Amazon.com. Murder your thirst, y'all. Welcome to the One Life, One Chance podcast. I'm your host, Toby Morse, in my kitchen right now with my man from where I was born, Massachusetts. We've been talking about doing this for a while. Pandemic hit, the world changed, everything happened, and here he is in my kitchen, Mr. Johnny Cupcakes.
Hey.
You know what's crazy is that I've always known you as Johnny Cupcakes. Then I do search and you're like, oh, he really has a last name. But I know so many people, just their names are just, that's their name.
You know, I like to sometimes say that my name is Johnny Cupcakes, and it's Swedish, and I put a couple dots above the U to make it look authentic.
Nice.
But it's Johnny Earl, like the Duke of Earl.
Duke, nice.
Yeah.
What are you?
I am.
What are you, sir?
I've got some Portuguese from my mom's side and French Canadian, and then on my dad's side I have Finnish and English.
Dude, Portuguese. There was a lot of Portuguese speaking people in Taunton, Mass, where I grew up. Actually,
I meet a new cousin of mine every week when I'm back home that are from Taunton or Rhode Island.
Wow.
Yeah. They're
you know
like, I think I'm related to you, or I swear we're multiplying.
You know, it's crazy, too. I just found out with 23andMe, whatever it's called. My wife had me do it, that I'm part French Canadian, too.
Yeah.
I never knew that my whole life.
For some reason, I say out and about like I'm from Canada. No one in my family speaks like that. Everyone sounds like a hardcore Bostonian.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
My mom's accent is crazy. Super Massachusetts, super East Coast, like hard.
Yep.
Before we start, I saw a post you did the other day, and I think you said your first show was Boyz II Men.
My first concert was Boyz II Men, TLC, and Montel Jordan. And
Dude.
that concert inspired me to dress better. There was a handsome gentleman in front of me with this, almost like a windbreaker breakdancing outfit on, and I was determined to be a breakdancer one day. And the next day when I went to school, I wore my dad's tracksuit. It was a little baggy, and I got sent home from school.
Really?
It was
because it was too baggy. It was just too.
No, it was one of those Marlboro Miles, Marlboro cigarette jumpsuits.
So Marlboro had cigarette stuff on it. Wow.
My dad would save all the little tabs on his cigarettes and send them away to get these Marlboro merchandise. They were called Marlboro Miles.
That's a hardcore smoker.
So
Wow.
I had to go back home and change, and yeah.
For having the Marlboro Man on your jacket. That's crazy.
Oh, yeah.
But Montel Jordan, wow, this is how we do it. Wow.
Yeah, that was cool.
TLC in their prime, probably.
Yeah. My mom took me to that.
Your mom
me and my
took
sister.
you.
Yeah, that was a great concert.
How old were you?
I think I was 12 or 13.
That is so cool, man, for first concert.
Yeah. And what's really cool is, Boyz II Men is one of my mom's favorite bands, and I got to some of the guys in the band started wearing Johnny Cupcakes, and
that's sick.
I got my mom she got to meet them once, and then a second time my mom she was in this terrible accident. She was in Barbados, and she was crossing a crosswalk, and her friend got struck by a vehicle, and my mom's friend passed away, and then my mom was in a coma for what felt like half a year, and we didn't know if she'd come out of it. No communication, just sleeping. She had trachea in her throat. And she finally, a little finger movement, eye movement, starting to answering questions. And anyhow, long story short, she came out of it. And when she started to walk again, my sister got her tickets to go see Boyz II Men. And
that's amazing.
I got her a special little shout out, and we have a video I'll show you after this.
Shout her on stage?
Yeah, they dedicated the mom song, the mother song to her. And
oh my God, that's incredible, man.
And she was just, she was just losing it.
What a great song.
Yeah, it was
That's
good.
crazy. That's a crazy accent. It's horrible, man. Wow.
Yeah,
dude.
that sucked. That was, my mom is very little. Like she never weighs more than 120 pounds, very small lady, and she is so hard to see her like that. And I unfortunately I lost my mom this year, so she came back from that. We had an extra 5 years with her that we weren't supposed to have.
Man, I'm so sorry.
But she got to meet her grandkids, and
that's beautiful.
But yeah. She passed away in my arms when she passed away. Me and my sister were singing to her, and she had COPD, and she got diagnosed with lung cancer, and then she was just kind of a little hard bouncing back from that accident. So she was, down to like 60 pounds,
Oh my God,
not eating
man.
anything, and, oxygen tank, and still sweet,
It's heavy, man.
still humorous. But yeah, I'm learning to grieve with more grace. And,
How long ago was that?
This was earlier this year. Yeah.
Wow, man.
But I feel I'm laughing more than crying these days.
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
And I hope no one has to go through it. Unfortunately, everybody does. But the one thing you get from it is you get perspective, and you get this instant connection with people from all walks of life, no matter what they believe in, no matter where they live, or what their religion is, or what their political stance are. Everybody, we have more in common with one another than we don't. And
I agree, man.
Unfortunately, grieving is one of those things, and it can be used as a good thing. You could truly tell someone that you understand what they went through. And but I've been putting my mom's quote inside of our t-shirts that says, my mom Lorraine used to say, kindness is free. I've been sharing her Portuguese kale soup recipe with some of my
amazing,
customers
man.
and clients. And
she must have been so proud of you, though, man.
She was, and I'm so lucky. I hired her to be my CFO, and she worked for my t-shirt brand for 20 years. And
also, I think in the early beginnings, they were helping you ship stuff and all that stuff too.
Yeah, she would help me ship stuff. My mom did smoke a lot of pot, so I once in a while I would get t-shirts sent back like, hey, I got this shirt that smells like pot or that has cat hair on it. And
I get the dog hair one, but the pot one's great, dude.
But
just wash it. It's my mom.
Yeah.
That is funny, dude.
She was the Halloween queen. My mom used to win costume contests year after year, and she would hand make all these costumes. And one year she made my dad dress up as Justin Timberlake.
What?
And my mom dressed up as Janet Jackson from the Super Bowl incident. So she had these fake plastic, sweet potatoes hanging from her chest, and it was a little weird, but she's committed to the theme. And at my t-shirt events, we go all out on Halloween. I've rented out a real hearse and a real coffin that I've gotten delivered in that I rented from a creepy guy on Craigslist for $220. But that $220 investment got me over $1 million in what I think was free marketing, because Channel 4 News wanted to do a big segment on why there's a real hearse and a real coffin in front of a bakery that doesn't sell real cupcakes.
That's incredible, dude.
And that all comes from her. But she would go to my events, and she would dress up and scare people waiting in line for t-shirts, and it was
so cool, man.
Yeah, I got so much great time with her.
Sounds really fun, man.
Very, really fun. Yeah, her name was Lorraine Earl, and her parents, her French-Canadian dad abandoned her Portuguese-American mom. They grew up on Martha's Vineyard on welfare after he left, and she had a brother and two sisters, and they would legit dive for coins when the steamship would come into Martha's Vineyard. They would sing this song on the docks. They would say, "How about a coin? How about a coin down here?" And people would flick money off of the steamship. And my mom and her siblings and some other neighborhood kids would go diving for coins, and they'd fill up their mouth with money. And but she worked tons of jobs on the island of Martha's Vineyard, and she incredible work ethic. And she ended up putting herself through college. She went to Fisher College, and she ended up working at a law firm in Boston, being kind of a jack of all trades paralegal. But to make extra money before that, when she was at a different law firm, on weekends she would transcribe these little cassette tapes in our basement, and she'd listen to them, and she'd have this little pedal that she would stop the cassette tape and type in, transcribe what she listened to. And I don't know if you saw that movie Spotlight.
Yes.
So my mom worked.
Was heavy, man.
Yeah. So Spotlight, if you're listening and haven't watched it, it's so about heavy. Some of the Catholic Church scandals with the
Boston Church, right?
Yeah, with the different, priest.
Heavy movie, man. Especially growing up in Boston, being an altar boy and going to church and just all that, and just seeing how the different priests would get in trouble, then they move into a different church and nobody really get in trouble. It was such a crazy thing, man.
And she transcribed the tapes of a lot of those sexually abuse victims for that Armenian lawyer that movie was based around.
No way, man.
So she
was listening to those tapes.
She would listen to those tapes and have to transcribe the audio into text for this lawyer.
That's gnarly, man.
But and then on that same computer for my birthday, she'd be printing out those happy birthday signs. The letters that were made up out of all little tiny letters.
Yeah.
They'd take days to print out. So she roughed it up and had a lot of different experience. But her creativity, her work ethic is instilled in me. And, Christmas time, my mom she'd make footsteps from the chimney with my dad's work boots. She'd dip them in baking flour, and it would look like Santa Claus' powdery snow prints.
This is where your imagination and creativity comes from, man.
Yeah.
That's insane. Wow.
She would make Easter baskets for us well into our adult years. She's the best.
Keeping that spirit alive. That's beautiful, man.
So
how many siblings do you have?
I have one sister.
Okay.
Yeah, I have a bunch of cousins. But
your parents were still married?
No, my parents split up shortly before my mom passed. My parents split up.
Okay.
Yeah. But they were together my whole life. And
then where were you born and grew up at?
I was born in Boston, or at a Boston hospital. I grew up in Hull, Massachusetts, Nantasket Beach, little oddly shaped peninsula that looks like poorly stretched pizza dough or a child's drawing. And once a year, the town would get split in half by water because the bay would meet the ocean during a storm. And for a few hours, you could be stranded in one side of the town, which is pretty cool.
Oh, that's right. I think it works. Yeah.
And there used to be a theme park called Paragon Park, and it had one of the biggest wooden roller coasters there. I was maybe 2 or 3 years old when they disassembled that amusement park, but they still have the carousel there. And the guy who started Napster partly worked on starting Napster with his uncle, and part of that time was in Hull. My friend delivered pizza. My friend Juris used to deliver pizza for Papagino's, and he got a $20 tip and a Napster t-shirt, and we were freaking out. We couldn't believe it. We were teenagers. And so those are, that's Hull's claim to fame. The movie Shutter Island was filmed just across the water from Hull.
That's wild, man. So a small town.
Small town, and you either had a ball chain necklace or a puka shell necklace, and you either got into trouble, drinking at parties and that leading into other things, or you were a prankster. And I kind of, with my mom teaching me and my parents teaching me that's what's inside that counts. I had the craziest haircuts growing up. My mom would cut my hair with kitchen scissors, and I'd roll into school, but I would make friends with the troublemakers, the athletic kids, the gothic kids. I knew that everybody had a story and everybody had their own superpower, and I was just a curious person, still am curious. Love people. But I grew up with all different kids. And then I went to a charter school. I had a hard time learning in the public schools, and my mom put me into this startup charter school. And this thing was straight out of a movie. I mean, our classrooms were held in a rented out motel rooms at this rented out motel.
Wow.
In an event space at the Red Parrot restaurant. And my graduating class was, I don't know, a dozen kids more or less. But I was friends with kids older than me, younger than me. My English class was called Scary Stories. So we learned to write and to be excited about reading through scary stories. And at the end of the year, we'd go camping at Wampatuck State Park, and everybody would share their stories around this campfire.
That's cool, man.
It just, seeing that, I think, that helped me learn better, because you learn better when you're doing the things that you're learning about, when it's more hands-on.
Yeah.
And then I think, fast forwarding to my Johnny Cupcakes t-shirt brand, I think some of that mixed with my mom, that learning approach of doing things hands-on in a creative way has helped me want to reinvent the way of selling T-shirts a little bit differently. And if anyone's just tuning in and thinking I sell real cupcakes, I own a T-shirt shop that looks and smells like a bakery. There is no food whatsoever. We trick hangry people every day. We get bad reviews. Sometimes we put the bad reviews on T-shirts and we sell them for $45.
Awesome.
And but yeah, it's an experience-based T-shirt brand. You buy a T-shirt, we package it up in a lunchbox, we pull it out of a smoking oven, and
I saw that. It's crazy.
And the shirts are displayed in refrigerators, and the store smells like frosting. And but it all started, being in the hardcore scene.
Yeah, man.
I went at that charter school. My friend John Blake, who's in a few of my classes, sometimes we would dress like one another and prank our teachers in trade classes, because at the charter school you could wear hats, you could really wear anything.
It was uniform stuff, yeah.
And we got this compilation CD of the New York Hardest 2 compilation.
Oh man, I think VOD was on that maybe.
Yeah, I believe so. I clearly remember.
This is your first kind of hardcore thing you're listening to?
Yeah, I mean, I loved learning about different subcultures. I loved, I'm at heart, I love jazz, 90s hip hop, hence the Boyz II Men, Montel Jordan,
yeah.
90s R&B. I love world music. I mean, I love just taking a risk at the world section and just bringing stuff home and getting, a nice Latin jazz album and I did get into Insane Clown Posse when I was a teenager, and I was with the Halloween stuff with my mom.
Totally.
I couldn't believe this group. They would dress up like Halloween and throw soda on people, and their merchandise was insane. And
yeah, it's true. The visual was crazy.
And I went to some unbelievable Insane Clown Posse.
Oh, you did?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Big time. I had a big collection, but then I learned about hardcore music, and I've been straight edge my whole life, and my dad drank a bunch growing up, and I think that made me very nervous because I'm a collector of things, and I think if I tried something, I might just be curious and want to try it all.
Yeah.
My mom smoked pot 10 times a day at the minimum every day of my life, while she, like I said earlier, while she was pregnant with me, and and that's, I can't, don't judge anybody, and I don't know what my mom's gone through. I know her dad left her when she was a kid. I know, choosing marijuana is probably a bit healthier than taking, prescribed pain medicine that could lead to other things.
Totally.
So, but for me, for my choice, I still loved my friends. I would go to parties with them. But instead I would bring my magic tricks, and I would mess with people, and I would bring Orajel with me, which is the gel format of Novocaine. It makes your mouth numb when you have a cavity. So when my friends weren't looking, I'd put this on the rims of their drinks, and by the time they'd go hit on a cute girl or guy, they would start drooling down their face mid-conversation because their face became numb. So
dude. That's so funny.
I find ways to still have fun and get my natural high, so I when I learned about hardcore and that people celebrated this thing called straight edge, everyone always asks me, like, why don't you drink and why don't you do this? It just didn't smell good, and as an adult now, I'm like, everything gives me acid reflux, so it's just not for me. But
so before you even knew what straight edge was, you weren't even trying anything.
Yeah, it just wasn't for me. I have seen people make mistakes that they can't change, and that and I just love life. I don't want to forget a thing. I want to write down my memories. I want to photograph everything. I want to remember. I want a smell to take me back 35 years to a specific space. I'm in love with life and every experience. But when I got that compilation, New York Hardest 2, what stood out to me were 2 bands. And some people might say they're not really hardcore, even though they were on the New York Hardest 2 compilation. I still think they are, or they at least practice the
ethics,
the lifestyle. But Candiria, was one of the bands.
Okay, respect.
And the fact that they incorporated jazz into some, I couldn't even describe what type of music this band was. And then, to have some diverse members in the band was something that you just didn't see with or at least with paired up with some of the other bands on that compilation. But that stood out to me. And they had this one, I think every band had 2 songs in that compilation, but they had this one rap song, and it was almost like the hardcore version of Wu-Tang Clan. And I remember somebody was rapping about, someone rhymed like Helen Hunt in the movie Twister, and I don't know, something about that really stuck out to me. And I was like, all right, I love Candiria. I want to learn more. And the other band was like metalcore's best kept secret, and it was Sons of Abraham.
Oh my God, I
and
remember them
it was
too, yeah.
Original members of Glassjaw, straight edge band from Long Island.
Yep.
And their guitar riffs it just felt like a freight train was going through your skull. And I later got into Glassjaw and Deftones, but hearing those guitar riffs and matching them up with some Glassjaw songs, it was pretty cool. But that
cool,
changed everything for me. And then I got into Poison the Well was one of my favorite bands. Still, I think writing lyrics wise, that they Carry Me Away on Concrete Pillows, they were saying things that your average metal or hardcore band weren't really talking about. And then early 18 Visions, they used a lot of samples from Back to the Future and The Shining, and they had this spooky, creepy, heavy element to it. And then learning that they had ties in with Throwdown, which was one of my other favorite bands when I was getting into heavy music.
Yeah.
The Throwdown, Poison the Well, 18 Visions. When I was in, when I was the DJ and did samples in the band On Broken Wings, I used to search AOL profiles for PTW, Poison the Well, and and 18 Visions, and I would send demo CDs, On Broken Wings demo CDs, to different kids in different cities that I'd meet through AOL.
Wow, man, that's crazy.
But yeah, in Throwdown, I love that album. That you don't have to be friends to be family, and just that title. I just remember that. Even my mailman, I know more than some of my relatives that I haven't heard from in many years, and just the scene and the DIY aspect of just that entrepreneurship that was ingrained in passing out CDs and demo tapes and getting rejected, and just learning to roll with the punches, I think is a great lesson for anybody. Just it's a great life lesson.
Yeah.
And then just the communities, like the amount of people that let in On Broken Wings to celebrate Thanksgiving with them in these different cities that we've never been to, and I'm just so thankful for that. And but yeah,
That's
I was
cool.
touring with the band, and I loved every minute of it. They were my best friends, and but the t-shirts kept picking up, and
we got the nickname working at Newbury Comics, right? From friends.
Yeah, Newbury Comics.
Yeah.
People call me Johnny Appleseed, Johnny Come Lately, Johnny Cupcakes. Johnny Cupcakes came out of nowhere, kind of sounded like a cute mobster nickname, and I put it on a shirt as a joke, and I said, I'm gonna make a couple t-shirts and advertise for a bakery that doesn't even exist. And
Did Kingsley Wong give you that name?
Kingsley Wong, yep.
Yes.
Shout outs to Kingsley. Yeah, that's a nice deep cut right there. Yep. But yeah, every day someone would give me a different nickname, and I was getting t-shirts made for On Broken Wings, and I thought I'd make a shirt as a joke to advertise this fake bakery. And I wore it to work, and all these slightly miserable customers that never made eye contact with me, they're like, "What is Johnny Cupcakes? Is that a bakery? Is that an adult movie store? Is that a pet shop? What's up with the bones? Like, my friend's name's Johnny. My cousin loves to bake. Where can I get one of these t-shirts?" So I started selling them out of the trunk of my car on my lunch break. And anytime I sold a t-shirt, I'd give somebody a little gift. It might be a Ghostbusters or New Kids on the Block trading card, or
That's cool.
I wanted them to have that experience. And I get that from, I sold Tupperware at one point in my life. This cute old lady with jangly earrings in thick glasses. She came up to me. I think I was at Shaw's Supermarket or Stop and Shop, and she was like, "How would you like to win a free minivan?" I said, "I'd love to win a free minivan." So I went to these Tupperware meetings, and it was all mostly women, all people, way older than me.
Yeah.
And I learned two things that day. One, I learned about French onion dip, which changed my life forever. And the second thing I learned about were these plastic orange peelers that they would encourage us as Tupperware salespeople to give out for free if somebody bought more than one thing of Tupperware to try to grow sales or build customer loyalty. So I don't sell Tupperware anymore. I still have all my Tupperware. I just don't know where the lids are. But I
How old were you doing that? How old were you?
Too young to even legally be allowed to do it. Yeah, me and this kid Eric Mealy sold Tupperware for a little bit. And
what was one of your first jobs?
One of my first jobs was Building 19.
Okay.
My first job with an actual paycheck.
Yeah.
And that was at the Harbor Light Mall, rest in peace. And I worked in the greeting card section. And it was a smoothie of emotions. People would come up to me who had a death in their family and they need a card. And I'm, 14, 15 years old.
That's heavy, yeah.
Trying to process that. And then somebody celebrating the life of someone. And it's two severe ends of emotions happening. Yeah. And here I am, with my dirt peach fuzz mustache that I didn't want to shave off because I was starting to look like an adult. And, I was drenched in Curve cologne, and but I loved working there. I had my own name tag and I had a sense of purpose, and I kind of had a crush on this girl that worked at Papagino's across the way. And I spent half of my paycheck on taking several buses to the Harbor Light Mall from Hull.
Wow.
But that mall was incredible. I saw Monster Squad there. Was the first movie my mom took me to in the theater. But I saw Titanic there. That was the first movie I cried at as a kid when that old couple go to bed to die together.
Oh yeah, that's
heavy.
My
God, that crushed me. There was this theme park in this mall called Bonkers, and this girl's hair got stuck in the motor and it peeled her scalp off. The mall's ceilings were decorated with those sticky balls and sticky hands that kids would just fling up on the, And there was a store that sold candy, and you would buy your candy to sneak it into the movie theaters. I did that when I saw Blair Witch Project or Cool Runnings. But that store sold pranks too, and I bought so many pranks that the owner introduced me to the world of wholesale. He gave me a catalog I got the Oriental Trading Company, which is the Bible of entrepreneurship, and I got the Rhode Island Novelty.
Okay.
And I could buy like 144 whoopee cushions or stink bombs or switchblade combs or itching powder for the price of like 2 or 3 retail prices of those pranks. And I started reselling pranks at school. And
early
I got
on,
big trouble. This kid named Dan bought itching powder from me. He put it on this other student's back named Blair. Blair's back had an allergic reaction, got rushed to the hospital.
What?
I almost got expelled from school. I argued with the school council. I was like, listen, I didn't put it on him. I was just selling it. If somebody buys a pencil from the school store and stabs someone with it, the school store shouldn't get in trouble for selling pencils.
Good point.
And they're like, all right, we're going to just suspend you for a couple weeks. So I'm at home watching depressing Cash for Gold commercials and Court TV. And I'm like, man, I just want something. I needed to come up with a new idea. So I went back to school, and while my friends were selling marijuana and mushrooms, I was selling candy. I got introduced to the world of wholesale. Now I could buy candy at wholesale prices and resell it. And even though the school store had all the good stuff, I had, Sour Patch Kids, Swedish Fish, Sour Patch watermelons, and that was going great. And at one point, some of my friends were like, dude, how much money did you make? That's crazy. And I was like, dude, you get the munchies every day. You're giving me half of this money I'm making. So sometimes I'd go to BJ's Wholesale Club or the Party Store and just buy just candy in bulk. And the more unique the candy that people can't just buy at the store, the better. So I loved getting there was these little taffy candy that had ice cream flavors. They were kind of gross, but it was unique, and people were like, "Oh, I got to try one of those."
Did your parents know you doing that?
My parents knew I was doing that, and they were always supportive with everything. I did magic tricks at one point at birthday parties, and my mom would drop me off at strangers' houses who would call in that saw my ad in the Hull Times newspaper. I know, I'm so lucky that nothing happened to me. But
You're like, it says online. It says like 16 different businesses before you're 16.
Yeah, that I sold glow sticks on the beach. I sold candy. I sold drinks
Lemonade,
out of a cooler. I sold
sticks.
Pogs. I loved. It wasn't so much. I mean, it was cool realizing I could make money and someday work for myself and spend more time with the people that I love. That's what I always wanted, just from seeing my parents commuting to work and sitting in traffic. But I liked the puzzle of just the feeling of just trying to figure something out. And that is addicting. And once you figure something out, you just need this new thing to rearrange. And I think retail is perfect for me because every day is different, and every day, as I mentioned earlier, you start with $0 and you don't know which way your day is going to go, and it's this choose your own adventure type thing. But yeah, some of my favorite businesses that I started was definitely magic tricks. Well, magic tricks and DJing were great because it allowed me to hang out with my friends at parties without having to drink or do drugs. So I got to, or I was terrified at dancing at one point in my life, even though I wanted to be a break dancer. But any other type of dance, I was like, So I wanted to play music. So I got my turntables and played records at parties. And I still have those same turntables. I still take them out and do some all vinyl nights once in a while.
Obviously, you graduated from high school, right?
I did. Yeah, graduated from the South Shore Charter School in 2000.
And what was your goals at that point?
My goal? God, I had no idea. I was working at Ben & Jerry's. I got a job there in the winter scooping ice cream. My arm hair was glued to my skin at the end of every shift. And there was a family of raccoons in the dumpsters, and I had to like hurl my bag of trash from Ben & Jerry's from my shift from a distance and try to avoid getting rabies. And, I would have, the trash was filled with, shrapnel from my from the waffle cone machine that I would have to scrape off the sides, and I would always be terrified of working alone at Ben & Jerry's and getting locked in the walk-in freezer.
Ooh,
I used to
that's scary.
Yeah, I'm not scared of many things, but that scared me. And
that'd be scary.
For some reason, the cotton that's inside of vitamin bottles, it like sends chills down my bones.
There is something weird about when you pull it out.
I can listen to nails on a chalkboard all day, but feeling that cotton, pulling it out, it
doesn't feel like normal cotton.
It doesn't. It really, I can feel it right now.
Yeah, it's like electrifying. There's something interesting about it. You're right.
So anyhow, I didn't know I was working at Ben & Jerry's, and I had some passions. And then I was flipping through the Rolling Stone magazine at my friend Juris's house. His mom had a black raspberry colored bidet that was filled with newspapers and Rolling Stone magazines. And I loved going to the back of that magazine because you could find out how to get things made. There'd always be someone advertising a really good deal to get stickers made or to get a recording of your band. I didn't know that. And I, the year, late 90s into 2000, the internet was still pretty new, and in resources, not everybody was sharing their resources of how to get certain things made. So I saw an advertisement for one of those Art Institute schools.
Okay.
And I signed up. I don't even know if I went for a full semester, but I went to learn how to record bands, and I thought that would be interesting. But the Art Institute ended up being one of those for-profit schools that got sued for predatory lending, and they had a class action and lawsuit. And but I left the school way before that, and because I started touring with On Broken Wings, and everything I was learning about in my classes I was doing in real life. I was marketing the band. I was doing my little AOL searches and trading CDs, and I was, keeping in touch with Scott Lee and Merrick at the Palladium.
Pearl Street. Yes.
Yeah. Shout outs to Scott Lee. Shout outs to Merrick.
Oh yeah, Merrick, that's right.
And I just had an AOL buddy list of all these promoters from different cities. What's his name? Who would go by 1,000 Knives? He set up all the CBGB shows. Long Island. Christian from Long Island would set up tons of shows.
He still books shows now.
Yep.
Yeah, he's in a big level company now.
Ash over at I remember his screen name was EE Booking. His dad ended up being he was one of like the writers or directors of the original Karate Kid. He owns Samaritan Records now.
Oh, Samaritan,
Ash,
yeah. It's a big label too, yeah.
But yeah, I loved just.
And that's your first band you were in?
I was in a rap band called The Sweeps in high school. Yeah,
you were rapping?
I did rapping and I did turntables.
No way, dude.
And then John Blake, who ended up being the singer of On Broken Wings, he rapped in Sweeps, and we played CBGBs on like a Wednesday night in front of like 3 people with some goth band that was really good. They actually covered a House of Pain song. They covered that song random. On Point.
On Point, yeah.
Yeah.
Sound rock a funky joint. Man, what was your rap name? Do you have a rap name?
Yeah, I went by Kid Crimson or DJ Kid Crimson.
Sick.
And
is there recordings of this or videos
yeah,
of this?
I'll have to get you some stuff.
Wow, dude.
But we won some like Battle of the Bands concerts and we played around New England, but CBGB's was like the big deal for us, even though it was in front of like zero, like no people. But it was great. This was in the late 90s.
Wow, dude.
Yeah, and we would play with this band Irrepress, who they always covered a Deftones song or a Slipknot song, and I'm still friends with those guys, Sheil and his brother Sean, and they started a band. Irrepress. They started a band called Bad Rabbits, and they play like funk party music. But yeah,
it's crazy you're rapping, man. That's amazing.
Yeah, I know, man. I had such stage fright, and I couldn't. But
what was your style? Like, what was your influences at that moment?
House of Pain, LL Cool J.
Nice.
We covered a Criss Cross song, but we also covered a Cars song, which we did some covers of songs that were not hip hop too.
What Criss Cross song? Not Jump, right?
We covered Jump, yeah. Yeah,
no
we did.
Way,
we did.
Dude.
And we had this guy. We had one guy in our band who was in his late 30s, and we're in high school. We had, and I'm still friends with all those guys. This charter school was such a special place. I'm friends with probably 40 something kids.
That's really
mixed
cool.
Between the school ages higher and lower than me, and just neighborhood kids, and in the small town I grew up in, and
that's so cool.
It is. It's very, very, very.
So
thankful.
the band, you did the band. You weren't working jobs at the time. You just went on tour.
Well, when I was in the Sweeps, I didn't. I mean, we played out every other weekend or a couple times a month. But I worked at a pizza shop for a very short amount of time. I worked at Stop and Shop collecting carriages in the winter.
Brutal.
Ben and Jerry's.
Are people eating ice cream in the winter at Ben and Jerry's?
Actually, I read a study that Massachusetts sells the most ice cream in the winter out of all ice cream shops.
Crazy.
But that one that I was working at, we didn't get to. My dad would come in for an ice cream sundae every night, and he'd help me mop the floors because I think he wanted to just spend some extra time with me. And
that's cool.
He doesn't. I love my dad. I wish he would call me every day. I wish my dad would call me like my mom used to call me.
Yeah.
He just. I ask him all the time, just call me Dad. And when I call him,
you text him?
Yeah, I still call him. I mean,
we
we talk every week, but I need some dad love. I need him to. And he tells me he loves me. He's great, but he just needs to call me.
Especially when you become a dad too.
Yeah. I can't breathe if I don't talk to my kids every day. And
absolutely, man.
And I know
different generations.
It is,
too,
and I know he had different. I know his dad. Barely hugged him, and things were different back then. But
yeah, I feel like our generation of dad, especially coming from punk rock and how we grew up, it's just we're so emotional, we're so loving, we're so like, I don't know, it's different.
But my dad would take me to my Cub Scout classes and my little soapbox racing Cub Scout thing, and my mom and my dad were great. I just I think my dad was showing me his love through helping me mop the floors at Ben and
Yay.
Jerry's. And,
Yeah, totally.
but yeah, I had a bunch of different jobs, and then I was always tinkering around with my little businesses and
Yeah.
trying to launch something. When I worked at Newbury Comics, I would go to. I like to say when my friends were hanging out with cute girls at parties, oftentimes I would hang out with cute old ladies at Joanne Fabrics or craft fairs, and I'd go to the fleece fabric aisle at Joanne Fabrics, and I'd buy a yard of fleece fabric that was on sale for $3. And there's so many different patterns, spider webs, stars.
That's cool, yeah.
And I'd get they sold these pizza cutters that would cut fabric.
Okay.
And in a couple slices, I could make 3 fleece scarves for $30, for $3 that I would sell for $30 each. So I would make $90 and $87 profit each time I made these. I would make 1, 2, 3 scarves.
That's incredible.
And I had these sold at, the Nantasket Pharmacy. I had them sold at L Street Pizza in my hometown. I had them sold at Newbury Comics at one point. My dad drove me into Alston to bring my wobbly Tupperware bin filled with fleece scarves, and they distributed them through all the Newbury Comics locations. And
that's cool, man.
Before I started Johnny Cupcakes, I got little tags made. I think they said like Crimson Industries to pay tribute to my rap name when I was in the sweeps. But then I eventually started making these Johnny Cupcakes t-shirts, and my scarf business didn't last long because it was a seasonal business. And summertime came around, nobody was buying these things.
True.
So I started a pin making business with a buddy of mine. I had bought a pin making machine from Beaver Buttons. Shout out to Beaver Buttons. And I would make pins, buttons, badges. I'd make them for different bands, different schools. And that thing, to this day, I've probably made hundreds of thousands of dollars just off of that $130 investment, more or less.
That's crazy,
from that pin company. And I teamed up with a friend of mine at one point. He was a better designer. He had a better printer. And we got our profits doubled, tripled. We got picked up in all the Newbury Comics locations. I remember distinctly going to the Palladium and selling pins at, before Norma Jean was Norma Jean, they were called Ludicrous. And we sold pins at that show. But once my friend got a girlfriend, he was no longer passionate about doing arts and crafts with me in a dark room on the weekends. So I was like, all right, we're lucky we could still salvage our friendship. But I if I start a business again, I want to do it by myself. I want to, set the pace if I want to be busy or not. And I don't want to jeopardize a friendship. And I started making these shirts, and
you just focused all those years like just on being creative and stuff.
Experimenting.
Were you having relationships? Were you like having long-term girlfriends and all that stuff?
I had a couple girlfriends.
Like more of a homebody.
I'm still a homebody.
Yeah.
It's hard being here. I love being at home.
Yeah.
But yeah, I had a couple girlfriends, and I had my different passions, my different little entrepreneurial journeys. But anytime something failed, I would call it an experiment. And I like to say that failures are experiments, and experimenting is how we grow. So sometimes my $5,000 ideas are born from my $50 mistakes, or my $50,000 ideas are born from my $5,000, $500 mistakes. So I just try not to beat myself up when something screws up, because usually there is some secret map, some secret compass that's just waiting to be unveiled. And it might not be the first failure, the second failure, but I just keep throwing spaghetti against the wall, see what sticks. And I think when I was getting deep into the Johnny Cupcakes t-shirt brand, and it was starting to take off, I was in love with that, and it was hard to go on a date and actually, I just was so excited to get back home to work, and I feel terrible if I if I didn't if I took time away from that part of my life. But I just always wanted to find a way to something I was passionate about
Yeah.
that could allow me to eventually spend more time with the people that I love. And if I could do that early on, I think in the next chapter of my life, things might be a little bit easier if I'm confident and comfortable in my skill set and where I want to be. And
you just focused on that.
And I loved working. I still do. But yeah, things were picking up. I ended up, once I started making more money than my paycheck at Newbury Comics.
I was going to ask you, when did you realize it was taking off? Like, how fast did that happen with, like, you making a couple of shirts, your friends are wearing it, all of a sudden the word spreads.
Yeah, well,
now you're mass producing.
Totally. Well, I definitely want to thank, On Broken Wings for always being cool with me, bringing my
suitcase,
my suitcase or my little duffel bag with wrinkled up, mesh shorts and t-shirts in there. That they were amazing. They're such a big help. And then I want to give big shout outs to some of the bands that first started wearing my t-shirts when I started. So, Brandon Chapetti from Bleeding Through and 18 Visions, he would wear Johnny Cupcake shirts.
That's cool.
You could kind of see one of the shirts on one of the original Hellfest DVDs.
Oh, really?
Todd Weinstock, who used to be in Glassjaw, he used to wear Johnny Cupcake shirts. Rat Boy, who played drums. Actually, a few of the guys, Jordan and Every Time I Die, a few of the guys were wearing Johnny Cupcakes t-shirts back in the day. But yeah, once I started making a little bit more than my paycheck at Newbury Comics and it became consistent, I felt comfortable to take that risk.
Yeah.
And then when I couldn't keep up being in the band and selling shirts at home and shipping things out, even though my mom and my sister would pitch in, helping fulfill online orders. Yeah, I had my T-Mobile Sidekick.
Those are the best,
my
man.
God, this thing. My friends were like, "Who would bring a computer to a party?" And little did they know that we are all computers.
The sidekicks were the best. I love the sidekick. I miss the sidekick.
Oh, anytime it dinged, I just couldn't believe. It blew my mind that it was possible to sometimes make money in your sleep by having an online store.
A transaction would go through, yeah.
And then when people were buying shirts in cities and states and countries I'd never been to, it blew my mind. But then I left the band and I was a little sad, but I didn't contribute as much as I would have loved to because I played samples. I put in weird noises in between heavy metal breakdowns on Broken Wings, and most of the time I'm standing on stage waiting for my one part where I press one button.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to be, like the keyboardist in some other band that's just banging his head the whole time. And I just didn't. There was a time where I did magic tricks on stage, and I actually used to shoot fireballs from my hands. So there's, in the world of magic, there's this stuff called flash paper, and I could light it on fire and it makes this giant flash of fire, and I can throw it at you and it disappears before it touches your skin.
Okay.
I learned about flash cotton, which blew my mind. And I found this device that's flesh colored and it goes on your hand like a ring. And on the inside of your palm, it has a lighter, and you stuff it with flash cotton and you can shoot balls of fire like you were a superhero.
That is so cool.
But shortly after I did this, there was that big fire in Rhode Island that happened at was it like a White Snake concert or something?
Yeah.
And I was like, oh God, I shouldn't be messing around with fire on stage. I used to pull, stuff out of my mouth on stage with On Broken Wings in the early days. And
wow, man.
I don't know. We got kicked out of a lot of venues for, when the mosh pits were really big or if we would entice moshing. But I wasn't a tough guy. I was a little skinny, straight edge kid that collected X-Men trading cards and liked magic and just missed my mom and wanted to be home. So for me, it felt a little okay to leave. And we also got into a bad accident. We were supposed to be dead. We were driving on 85 in North Carolina in our U-Haul rental jackknifed, and we flipped over the highway several times. And
was it like black ice or something, or
no? Bald tires on
wow.
a rental U-Haul trailer, and
that's scary, man. That's crazy.
I think we were playing some dates, maybe with Evergreen Terrace or Remembering Never, but yeah, that
That's
was
crazy,
terrifying. We all went to the hospital. The van was completely totaled. Our drummer, a few days later, we played the last couple dates. Our drummer played with a neck brace on.
Jeez.
My butt cheeks were black. They weren't even purple bruised. They were black. And I had to kneel like I was praying against the seat backwards in the vehicle for quite a few days until it felt okay to sit.
Wow, man.
And then we all had CAT scans, and I had chest hair, and the key word is had, because all of those sticky suction cups they put on you left polka dotted bald spots all over my chest. But I mean, even those scary things like just build such a unique bond with the people that you're with. But I was like, I'm gonna take a risk and see where these t-shirts go. So online store was growing. I'm hanging out in all these different message boards and
was it just one design at first? It's the skull and crossbones, and they started making.
Well, the cupcake and crossbones wasn't the first one actually. One had 4 skulls on it.
Okay.
And then I had one with this like cupcake shaped grenade, and then I did another one that had a crest on it. I had another one that was a Jolly Roger thing with 2 swords under it. And then when I did the cupcake and crossbones logo, I started poking fun at pop culture. Anything I would see in cupcake vision. I'm going to replace that with a cupcake. All these tough guys with skull and crossbone shirts.
Yeah.
Put a cupcake there, see what happens. And guys thought it was funny. People thought it was cute. It caused so much curiosity. What does that mean? Where can I get one of those shirts? And anytime I sold 12 t-shirts, I'd take that money, reinvest it into the brand. I'd take the money I was saving from not partying, reinvest it back into the brand. And it kept growing. I eventually opened a store down the street from my parents' house in an old boat garage.
2005, I think.
Yep. About 2005. And this building looked like it had dandruff. It was all stucco, constantly chipping, animals living in the walls. We did not have a home inspector, a commercial inspector come and check it out. I was just like, $700 a month for rent. Let's do it.
Yeah.
But we made the best out of that space. We outgrew it. The best part about it was when I utilized a space in more than one way. So if anybody's listening and you're renting out an office, or you're renting out a studio, or you have a retail store that might be a little bit slower at times, there were times where we used the store as an art gallery. We got free art for the walls from artists from all over the place.
Yeah. The
more artists that we featured, the more people we could support. And in turn, every few months when we had an art show, everybody would bring their family and friends out, and everybody was helping promote this. So
it's cool.
That was great. We utilized our space to do our photo shoots, to be the shipping facility for Johnny Cupcakes online orders. And then we had the retail store. And even if we only sold 1 t-shirt a day, it still felt like an added bonus because we got to do so many things in this space.
Yeah.
And I think that's so important when you're paying rent for a building to do that. But that was great. Outgrew that. And then I opened a store eventually on Newbury Street in Boston. And I think that's when things really changed. For the most part, people were wearing my shirts, tattooed dudes in bands. And that's all I knew. And even the shirts I used to print on, like
what were they, remember?
Scratchy, like it's so funny. Those t-shirts are probably the t-shirts that are popular now again.
I'm sure,
because just the way things go. But
the boxy square kind of shirts.
Yeah. But when I would travel, I'd always wake up early and I'd go into different stores, and I looked like I was looking for lice inside of these stores because I was inspecting the thread count, the type of tag, the hang tags, the material, the ink, and how it sits on the shirt. And And then I started experimenting with scented inks that smelled like frosting, with glow-in-the-dark ink, with printed secret messages inside of T-shirts, and just doing things that made people feel like a kid again, and to give people this sense of escapism through retail, packaging the shirts up like food, and just sending people on a scavenger hunt and making them feel like they just opened a box of Cracker Jacks or cereal.
It's like Willy Wonka.
It's like Willy Wonka. Yep.
It is. It really is.
It's cool. And it kind of going with the flow. And opening the store in Boston was scary because I was going from spending $700 a month on rent to spending more than $7,000 a month on rent. And at first it was slightly cheaper, but with all the, with the employees included, the rent, the payroll, the insurance, the cost of goods, outfitting the store. I didn't want to go to IKEA and buy cheap displays. I love IKEA, I love the chocolate there and everything, but I needed to make this place stand out. So I went to this antique auction house in Quincy, Massachusetts, and I bought old refrigerators that weighed so much. I had to hire these muscle men to come in and a giant Hobart dough mixer from the 1930s. And just, I wanted people to, I wanted to trick people because that's me. That's me watching Pee Wee Herman as a kid. And that's my mom's creativity. And then two, I wanted to just, if I'm going to open up a retail store on Newbury Street in Boston, I want to make it a destination spot. And
totally.
And that opening day was unbelievable. And that was the day I learned that I could afford to hire my mom full time. And all I ever wanted to do was, be an entrepreneur so I could spend more time with the people I love. And that did it. So my mom, for 20 years at least, we worked together, and she worked together on the books, and she, we traveled the world and
so amazing,
opened up over 1,000 pop-up shops in different cities, just one day things. I'd post on social media. I'd be like, hey, it's Johnny. I'm going to be traveling through this city. Hit me up if you want to host a pop-up shop. And sometimes it would be at a bakery. It might be at Facebook's headquarters. It might be in someone's backyard at a Portuguese barbecue in Fall River.
So cool.
I think the more like backyard stuff is side of the street stuff is the coolest. Even if there's less people there and it's too hot or too cold or too dicey, it makes for a great story, and the people who are there connecting with you at that, they never forget it. So I did one called the Suitcase Tour. And we did a pop-up shop in every city.
That's cool.
Most major cities in the U.S. 30.
Then the coffin tour after that. You did two different ones.
The coffin tour. We sold shirts. I bought coffins that we sold shirts out of on tour. Little like guitar case coffins. We set up every shop like a pop-up, like a haunted house.
Were people still coming at that point thinking there was actually cupcakes?
There'd always be some people. I mean, people still do at my store every day. And purposely in the beginning, when there were still kind of phone books, I would advertise us. I'd make sure we were advertised in the food section or the catering section.
And like, I think April Fool's, you did we actually had cupcakes. And
April Fool's
t-shirts.
Day. That was a big one. We hyped it up. We had customers drive from New York to Boston to, we were like, we're having a big release on April Fool's Day, and they didn't know what it was going to be, but we hid all of our t-shirts and we only sold cupcakes.
People are probably tripping out.
We had people coming in looking for cupcakes like they normally would, and they bought them. But we had some people just like laughing, some a little upset, but some laughing. And then we made a shirt that said, I went to Johnny Cupcakes and all I got was this t-shirt, and we sold that. And
so good.
You could see that on our YouTube. If you go to Johnny Cupcakes on YouTube, a lot of the stories I'm telling you about, you could see some video evidence. And
were you a big Cupcakes fan growing up?
I mean, they're all right. They're still okay. They're
wasn't
good.
Your choice of sweets?
It's good. It's a non-committal slice of cake.
True.
But no, it was a nickname. I could have been Johnny Hot Dogs, and I would have been selling a T-shirt in between two pieces of bread, and I'd figured out a way to make it be fun.
And so what does it become? Obviously, you quit working the job, and you quit the band, and now your mom's working for you. Now it's like real. Now it's like you open your second store, online's going good. Now you're realizing this could be like something. It's like it's really happening, right?
Yeah, this is really happening. I have to trademark some of these shirts. I have to open up a bank account that's John Earl DBA Johnny Cupcakes Clothing. I have to decide if I want to keep the word clothing because it gives away the prank of it being a cupcake place, and it's kind of long to type in, and I kind of just want johnnycupcakes.com. I have to figure out what countries I want to trademark in and what categories. I have to learn a lot new. I have to figure out what money is John Earl. What am I charging on the credit card or the debit card or cash? What am I buying that's getting written off under Johnny Cupcakes and not John Earl, and trying to differentiate the two things?
Good points, man. Yeah.
How many free things can I give away? Do my friends really love me if they're asking for free stuff all the time? When do I, where do I draw the line? But at the same token, I love them and I want them. I want to give away stuff. I want to give away things every day, but I need to maybe give away 30% stuff for free. And then maybe I raise my prices on the other stuff a little bit, because I now have bills to pay. I'm not living at my parents' house for free. Well, I am, but I've got my business cell phone. I've got my credit card machine.
Still right at that point.
I love living home. Loved my parents.
Yeah.
And then when I was touring with the band, it didn't make sense to move out. And
how old were you when you moved out? How old were you?
I moved out of my parents' house. I think I was 24, and that's when I bought my first home.
Because my son's 21. He's still here. I like him being home. I like.
Yeah. I mean, I'd still live there to this day.
Yeah. So 24, you moved out. You bought a house.
Bought a house. Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing.
I bought a fixer-upper. It had squirrels. Another place with animals in the walls.
Yeah.
It was a crooked house. It was built in 1890.
Wow.
And I hired my dad to help build it slowly but surely, build it out, and breathed in sawdust for quite some time. But yeah, turned it into a cool home and lived there and collected things I didn't need, like pinball machines and vintage boxes of cereal. And
I love it, dude.
But yeah, that was that's when it also felt real too. When I left my parents' house and
it's huge.
And I got that space. But
was the original name Doist Doin'?
What's up?
What's Doist Doin'?
I don't know what that is. I've seen that come up in some spots. It says the
original name was going to be called Doist Doin'.
I don't know what that is.
Oh, that easy. It's so weird. The internet, man, says it about you. I don't know what that means.
No,
Doist Doin'.
I don't know what that is.
Does it ring no bell to you?
No, but I've seen that name randomly. Yeah.
It's so weird. I was like, what does that mean? Like, I don't know if that makes any sense.
I think it's some like AI glitch when you search me or something.
You started getting crazy press though too, doing all kinds of stuff when it first came out, right?
Yeah.
Were people confused at first, like the press, like what it was? Is this a cupcake spot? Is this
Some were confused, some were delighted. We NPR did a great write up when I opened the Boston store. Got some cool accolades that have been, no big trophies or, but having these accolades are kind of cool they could be a gateway into something else. So
totally.
Business Week magazine named me top, what was it? America's #1 young entrepreneur.
Yeah, I saw that.
In like 2008 or 9.
Yep.
And there was some stuff in Inc. magazine. They've done a bunch of features, Wired magazine, Forbes. And then the coolest thing is being a case study in several business and branding books.
Yeah,
and
I saw that too. That's really cool, man.
Some of these these are like, fancy books you have to buy at school. So they're studying it in classrooms. So I have teachers that will reach out and say, yeah, we use you as a case study in our classroom. And
so cool, man.
The best full circle moment though is that Art Institute school that got sued for predatory lending that I went to, that I left. They hired me and paid me to speak at a couple locations, and I made more money. I made my money back finally from what I spent with my my short Sally Mae loan for my short time there.
Wow, that's incredible, man.
But yeah,
because then you're speaking at schools, you're traveling, you're doing all kinds of stuff, talking about your
so it turned into a case study. There were other people sharing my story for me, and sometimes they would butcher it or leave stuff out. And then I was like, why don't I just
do we doing?
Yeah, exactly. So should I just do this thing myself? And there was a gentleman named Glenn Kaplis, rest in peace. He was a professor at Babson College, and there was another guy over at Northeastern University that wanted me to speak to their classes. And I was on stage with my bands, but I didn't want to. Teaching is it's a big spotlight on you, and I was nervous. And I finally went in and I did it, and I was I wore extra deodorant. I was stuttering. I was like, what am I doing? This is embarrassing.
Public speaking's no joke, man.
I was like, I'm never doing this again. And then I got a lot of cool emails from students that didn't say anything to me there, but they wrote to me and they were like, dude, you changed my perspective on this and thank you so much. And then I thought about it. I was like, man, I wish I had this when I started because I could have saved a lot of frustration and mistakes. So I started doing that more. And
it's awesome, man.
And that is one of the major things I do is I speak at not just colleges, but I speak at corporate events, companies. If they're going in, I'll talk to their marketing team, their sales, their design team, and just give people a creative refresh and
it's awesome,
and
man.
use my story as a case study and just tell them if I can do this with something as weird as cupcakes on t-shirts, they can do it with anything. It's thinking outside of the box, experimenting, and I sell t-shirts. Anybody can buy a t-shirt anywhere, usually for cheaper than what I sell them for. Why are they going to keep coming back to me? And that haunts me and it inspires me every day, but it motivates me to try new things. So if I'm going to sell a Halloween shirt, I'm going to make myself and my team, we're going to make a movie trailer that says Count Spatula to advertise a movie that doesn't exist. And we're going to package the t-shirts inside of VHS tapes. And I'm going to get delivered in the hearse and the coffin. And we're only going to sell the scary shirts at nighttime. So you have to go in the dark to buy a scary shirt. We're going to have a costume contest to build a community of customers around the brand. We're going to show movies in the windows, rent out a popcorn machine. And
that's like the inner child in you, though, too.
It is.
It's awesome.
My heart is beating faster right now just talking about it.
And that's
I love that.
And that's like you didn't go to college for all this stuff.
I didn't study any of this, and it's and I will, sometimes it doesn't work out. Sometimes I don't put my business hat on and I put more of a creative hat on, and I don't care how much it's going to cost. I need to overnight 600 VHS tapes, and we need to stay up all night packaging these shirts because we have to do it for the experience. But that stuff, I love it. I love it. We've sold ice cream themed shirts out of ice cream trucks I've rented in different cities around the U.S. We've packaged them in oversized push-up pops, so you get this giant collectible with a t-shirt rolled up inside. We gave out real ice cream with every purchase, and we dressed up like milkmen from the 1950s. We rented Mr. Softy in New York. We rented out their trucks. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure it seems like there's definitely in the ice cream truck world, there's some ties to the mafia.
Mr. Softy?
Really nice. I'll just say ice cream trucks. I won't mention any names, but
that makes sense.
They're really nice people. And this guy brought his son out and was super cool. But I loved every minute of it. I've sold shirts out of pizza box, ramen containers. We did one recently. We called it Star Bakes. We did a Starbucks parody, and it was in an oversized coffee cup with a Johnny Cupcakes coffee cup hand warmer on there. And the best part about this t-shirt is we purposely misspelt our customers' names to give them an authentic coffee shop experience.
That's incredible, man.
And we wrote their name wrong on the cups. What are some other fun ones?
All that stuff. That's all coming from your mind. It's like it's your mind, dude. It's like crazy.
We did a vegan shirt around barbecue season. We did a meat themed crossbone shirt that was packaged like a deli container. We did a photo shoot at a deli. People thought we were out of our minds, and it came wrapped in the cellophane wrapper with the thing and a fake Johnny Cupcakes farm sticker on it.
Wow!
But it's all fiber, all cotton.
That's amazing.
We did. There's so many.
And then the collabs too, like The Simpsons, Nickelodeon, Hello Kitty, Linkin Park, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle, all that stuff.
Yeah,
it's crazy. Bro.
That's also another. This
Simpsons?
Is real.
Yeah.
That is that. So there's that, and then I'll mention Steve Harvey after too, which was a crazy thing.
Really?
Yeah. So. When you have a brand, when you have a t-shirt brand especially, sometimes you get to this point where you feel like you need to prove that you're more than a t-shirt brand.
Yeah.
And you do that by making things that are hard to make. It's kind of like when you're in a band too.
Totally.
You want to press vinyl, you want to play venues that people don't normally play.
Yes.
And you want to find a place that can print over the zippers, like all of Converge's merchandise or Norma Jean's merchandise.
It's hard to do.
Or the oversized belt prints. And, so with Johnny Cupcakes, I started making things that were a little bit difficult, and nobody was holding me up to this. I just, in my mind, I was going through this thing. So I made a snow tube to go sledding with around Christmas time. We made doggy clothes, and we made our own branded poo-poo bags to go with it. It's our crappiest product yet, but people really loved it.
That's awesome.
I'm out here. I'm going to be doing a pop-up. I'm going to be doing a meet and greet at Suavecito. They're a barbershop hair pomade company, and we did a frosting scented pomade with them a while back, and they're sold at barbershops all around the world. We did a creamsicle one last year, and we just rolled out a fruit punch scented pomade that's dropping tomorrow.
That's cool.
So yeah, I loved trying to find different things to get made. Where was I going with this?
Let's talk about collabs and stuff.
Collabs, yeah.
Collabs.
So with that, the collaborations are another way to kind of make yourself feel like, all right, if these people will work with me, maybe I'm on the right track.
Totally.
The best part about a collaboration isn't just being able to scratch that itch of nostalgia, but it's also, when the best part about any collaboration is that cross-pollination. Mm-hmm. Someone else's fans, customers learning about what you do, and vice versa.
Yeah.
And if there's a somewhat even exchange of those things, both people can walk away really happy. So Nickelodeon was a big one. Actually, Warner Brothers, Looney Tunes was the first official big collaboration.
That's crazy.
And they reached out to me because we do a lot of parodies. Parodies are legal.
Okay.
However, they were a little upset about this one parody we did, and it was around the time the Batman movie came out. We did this Joker shirt, but it was a Joker card. It was a clown on a shirt. I feel like I could have contested it, and I have a great trademark attorney that I've worked with for over a decade, probably 2 decades at this point. But I listened to them, and they were like, how many of these shirts did you make, and where'd you sell them? And I was like, I don't know, we made like 100, 200 shirts.
Cease and desist kind of thing?
Well, that's what I thought, and they kept asking questions, and why don't you sell wholesale? Because we mostly sell direct to our customers.
Yeah.
And they were like, you only made a couple hundred? Why? And you don't sell cupcakes, and what is this place all about? And at the end of the talk, all these people were laughing, and they're like, we're going to let this slide, and we want you to work with us officially, and we're going to give you a deal, and come to Burbank and check out our studios and see what properties you want to work with. And I was like, oh my God, this is great.
Is this real? Yeah.
I did call one of my designers at the time, and I was like, dude, Warner Brothers, they're not happy. They want to talk to you. And my buddy Clark, he was not happy. I'm sorry, Clark. But we had a good laugh about that after, and a great sigh of relief. So I went to their studios, decided to work with Looney Tunes.
Dude.
And this was my first time doing a collaboration, and they give you this giant Cheesecake Factory sized menu of things of what not to do. Their brand guidelines. Bugs Bunny has to be this certain Pantone color gray. You can't have his whiskers going in this direction. And
no way.
And
dude.
so I think the toughest part about a collaboration where you're licensing is going back and forth and keeping the excitement and the momentum there, because you get beat down with a lot of ideas of that go nowhere because you can't do too many things than you can do. But when we did release it, the coolest part about a collaboration too is when you can get unique giveaways. Mm-hmm. So we got original cartoon cells for some of these cartoons that we did parodies of. We had Yosemite Sam shooting cupcakes out of his guns instead of bullets. We had Daffy Duck. I think he was holding a giant rolling pin about to smash somebody with it. So a lot of a lot of fun stuff from my childhood with culinary references. But we got cartoon cells and a bunch of giveaways and things with letters of authenticity. And so the first 20 people at my store could get these special gifts. And that got a lot of people to line up and wait in line for these T-shirts. And that also happened when I had the grand opening of my store. The line wrapped down the street. It looked like a parade. I couldn't believe it. And when I got closer to my store, I started seeing some of the cupcake T-shirts, and I was like, this is amazing. You know, I also felt comfortable taking a risk in opening up a store on a busy street in Boston, because having my online shop, I got to see where I was getting orders from.
Yes.
And I sat on that stoop for weeks, counting people walking by and seeing all the kids coming to school, seeing the baseball games and the family traditions, seeing the all the businesses at the convention center across the street. And I just feel, even though Boston is a small city, I feel like it packs a punch as far as tourists go.
Yeah.
And even if I, for some reason, never change my shirt designs, the people are changing. Hundreds of thousands of students. But yeah, those collaborations were great. The Simpsons was huge. We had Homer Simpson come out and pretend to strangle customers waiting in line. People wanted that Instagram moment, that photo.
Wow,
we gave out real cupcakes with little donuts on top. We collaborated with Duff Goldman of Ace of Cakes, Charm City West to make those. We had, I think we went on one of the LA, what's the news, the big news, morning news show out here?
I don't know. ABC, I don't know what
we went on one of the KTLA.
Yeah.
So that was cool. My mom dressed up as Marge Simpson. She got a great outfit from Savers. She was pumped. She greeted all the customers at my Boston shop,
man.
and we did one with Marilyn Monroe's estate, and we
saw that too.
We replaced her beauty mark with a teeny tiny cupcake, so she had a little cupcake on her face. And but that stuff's great. You've got a new canvas, a new sandbox to play with. Sesame Street was a big one. Power Rangers. We had the Power Rangers dressed up. They came to my shop. I think someone got into a fender bender out front because they were trying to take pictures of the Power Rangers as they drove by. I love those collaborations. And then there's smaller ones too, that are less licensing and more like real deal collaborations. So, you know, early on, we did a collaboration with the Hundreds back in the day.
Nice.
Do
you have Dream collabs still?
Dream collaborations.
Still at this point? Like bucket list stuff, or?
I do. They're not hitting me right now. I mean, Trader Joe's would be a big one.
Okay.
I would love like my own cereal.
That'd be
with a prize at the bottom. I'd love my Trader Joe's has a key lime pie that comes out once a year. All their snacks are amazing, but
wow.
I would love to get hired to reimagine their outfits, reimagine their employee. But yeah, I'd love that.
Cool.
I mean, Nintendo would be cool. Having like an 8-bit, Nintendo game, or
that'd be awesome.
Or a Super Nintendo game, or Super Nintendo 64-bit. I might be getting my bits mixed up, but yeah. And then I think, again, the more odd of a collaboration, the better. Like, I would love to do a collaboration with Matchbox cars and just make like my 89 Camry with T-shirts coming out of the back of it. And
that'd be cool.
My own seltzer would be cool, or maybe a collaboration with Polar Seltzer. They're out of Worcester, Massachusetts.
Ooh.
Williams Sonoma and Crate and Barrel would be big ones.
Okay.
They sell kitchen-y stuff already. Why not introduce an apparel line with Johnny Cupcakes, a food-themed T-shirt brand, our own oven mitts and aprons, and I could see a nice little section in there.
Is this something you would pitch to them, or you have a team that does that? Is that something you do directly, like at this stage?
Yeah, I would. Man, I don't know. I've added a bunch of people on LinkedIn, but I think I need to send some care packages there and someone has to know someone there. If you're listening, let us know. But we did do a few big projects in the past that were bigger than collaborations, and it was almost like Johnny Cupcakes acted as the agency's agency, and ad agency's ad agency. So Gillette wanted to bring us in. I did a talk for Gillette's headquarters for their sales team, and they wanted to do some collaboration. And you're doing something right when you have a beard and a razor company's hiring you to sell razors. But I brought my dad in for Father's Day, and we made a video at their headquarters, and I talked about how you still use a razor to clean up your beard, and we talked about my dad teaching me how to shave when I was younger, and
that's so cool.
And we helped them get more people to sign up for their shave club. My team and I, shout outs to Dale and shout outs to Mary and Kelly, and we brought back their mascot from the 1950s or 40s, Sharpie the parrot, and we made these Johnny Cupcakes Sharpie shirts, and we gave those out to anyone that signed up for their shave club within a certain amount of time.
Oh man, that's cool.
So that was cool because they hired us to do a photo shoot, a video shoot, a concept, to be associated with the name of the brand, and we got to charge a fee for each email blast or mailer or social post that went out. And then we did something that was even bigger than that, and that was I did a talk for Mondelez for their headquarters, and Mondelez owns Sour Patch Kids and all your favorite childhood snacks. And I went out there to New Jersey, and the talk went great, and they were like, we got to work together, and Nutter Butter is coming up with their big anniversary. Can you help us celebrate? I think it was 5 or 6 nutty decades was the theme, so we did a t-shirt that was decade themed for every decade. And it was so cool because, we did a pop-up shop at my store for a brand activation on Newbury Street. And then we did a pop-up shop in collaboration with 7-Eleven in New York City.
So cool.
And we filmed a promotional video in collaboration with Stop and Shop where I talked about collecting carriages as one of my first jobs.
That's cool.
And kind of
bring it all back. That's awesome.
Bring it all together. So that was huge. And it was great working with their ad agency, and that stuff I need to focus on, but I will get distracted and focus on our like $5-6 greeting card line that I'm hoping to launch. And
I saw that.
Or my stickers or pins. I don't know. I feel like I need to fill my bucket each day with all these little projects. But yeah, I launched a greeting card line, and that brings it back to my days at Building 19 in the greeting card section.
Yeah.
So we got some cards picked up in Paper Source, Barnes & Noble, Spencer's, Urban Outfitters, and a couple hundred mom and pop shops. The thing that is terrible about wholesale is that the buyers are always changing. And to have to resell yourself constantly, it takes so much steam out of you. So I think right now I really want to find an independent sales agency or salesperson to just help with this so I can focus on other things. But yeah, the collaborations were big. And then I got, was another pinch yourself moment. And then I got asked to be on the Steve Harvey show.
So random.
And that was, one time it was the show for this guy, The Big Idea with Donnie Deutsch. It was like, it was on like, it's like a CNN show or I don't know. It was one of those business shows. But this was Steve Harvey with the mustache. I couldn't believe this. So I flew out here. It was just before the pandemic.
I was in LA,
And man, it was so surreal. And it felt like forever, just like waiting to get on stage. And the time was moving so slow. But they sprayed me with makeup, and I had to go to wardrobe and get some outfit put on. And then I went on stage, and it's like I blacked out. I think I did an okay job, and you could find it on YouTube. Yeah.
Live audience, obviously. Yeah.
Yeah. Live audience.
And he was cool.
He was really cool. And he was playing great soul music before, when there was the commercial break. And then he hired me as a keynote speaker for an entrepreneurship conference that he put on in I think it was in Burbank.
Oh, dude, that's awesome.
But that was a great moment for my mom too. My mom called every one of her friends. My mom was on a bowling league. She called all of her friends in the bowling league. My mom was in a garden club. She called all her friends from the garden club.
Oh man.
And that was just Harvey. that was really cool. Yeah.
When was that? A couple years ago?
Yeah. Like I said, it was right before the pandemic.
Right before,
I mean, I'd love to get on. I don't know. I know Ellen's. I don't think she's around
Kelly
anymore.
Clarkson has a show. It's pretty cool.
Kelly Clarkson. Drew Barrymore. She's amazing.
That'd be good. E.T. and all the old movies. That'd be cool for you.
Yeah. And Jimmy Fallon.
He's great in New
Right.
York.
Yeah. Or Jimmy Kimmel. Yeah, those would be good. I need to make time to do that, or I need to ask for help. That's my big thing.
Yeah.
I need to ask for help with the things that I lack efficiency in.
But you probably don't like to ask people for help.
I don't want to bother anybody,
Yeah.
and I keep putting things on my someday list. I've got a note section. I got Post-it notes that hitchhike from one sock to another when I'm at home, just trailing me through the house. And my sister-in-law, she's a teacher, a public school teacher, and she's taking some time off to figure out what she wants to do on her next chapter of life. And my sister-in-law, Chrissy, she's gonna help me be a little bit more organized.
That's
and
nice.
I already feel like I can breathe more. So
Yeah.
she's such a huge help.
You're not that organized?
I'm not short of ideas, but prioritizing what I should do. My email box is like will
Crazy.
never look okay.
Yeah.
But I get there. I can get into a good flow. But I do need someone from the outside to just take a look at this
It's like organize your
pigsty.
life a little bit.
Yeah, just a little bit. I mean, I know what my priorities are, and I mostly work from home. I love being at home.
But you have a family you raise. You have a family.
Got my family. I've got my twin girls.
Yeah.
And
Balancing all that. It's important.
in the best collaboration I've ever had is at home. I thought it would be a cool idea to put 2 pre-approvals together and buy a bigger house and have a co-living space with my wife's twin sister and her husband.
Wow.
And then both of our families had kids during the pandemic, and
Wow.
and then we brought my wife's parents in the mix, and I was like, can we put 3 pre-approvals together and just buy a bigger place that we can all live in? We'll share the kitchen, we'll do dinners together in the living room, dining room. So I live with 10 people, and it's the best thing ever.
So it worked out. It happened.
It's
Holy
worked
crap.
out. We've been doing it for many years, and we're going to do it until...
So it's a big property with a couple houses on it? All connected?
No, it's one house we all live in. Yep.
Wow. So how big is this house, and how many bathrooms you got?
It's like we all have... It's like everyone has... it's like everybody has 900, 800, 700 square feet.
Okay.
But then we share a big living room, a big dining room,
Okay.
a big kitchen, a mud room, a garage.
What's a mud room?
Where all the kids stash their sports equipment and muddy shoes and all that
like a
stuff.
junk room. Yeah, okay.
Just like a...
How many bathrooms though?
7
Okay,
or
you're
8.
good. Everybody's got kind of their own bathroom. That's
Yeah.
important. So a huge backyard property.
It's
Everybody's
great.
good.
Yeah, we're on a dead end street. Every neighbor knows each other.
That's incredible.
The neighbor baked us bread when we moved in.
It's
The
like
guy
Pleasantville.
down the street brought us tomatoes from his yard.
Dude.
Jim across the street lets us use anything in his shed or lets us use his basketball hoop.
What?
We're all on a group text message together. Everyone's looking out.
That's incredible, man.
It's really cool.
It doesn't even seem like the real world. That's crazy.
But even though it's a big place, everybody's pitching in. So we just took our small spaces and just put what we could afford and just got.
It's cool, man.
And it is easier to do than it seems. So if anybody's listening and the market's crazy or weird, if you get along with some people, I mean, you don't even have to share the kitchen with them. You could get a duplex or you could redesign a house together, but it is very simple to put multiple pre-approvals together and just go all in on a space, and you really get your money's worth. Someone's always coming home with groceries or snacks or, I don't like leaving for business. I love being home, and I try to schedule my pop-up shops and my speaking engagements to places that get me back home fairly quickly.
Little community. It's awesome.
But I know that there's always going to be, 1, 2, at least 4 adults home, and there's probably going to be relatives visiting. My brother-in-law's parents live down the street. They're always bringing us, homemade food.
Everybody gets along good. It's awesome.
Everyone gets along good. Yeah.
Wow, man, that's incredible.
It is really, I highly suggest it. And I love my family, like my blood family, but I know that, everybody has their own things and some people need their own space.
Totally.
But I lucked out with my in-laws and the type of company that we like to keep. It works out.
Must have amazing holidays there, man.
Oh my God. Every day it feels like Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
You've got at least 10 people eating together, but there's always visitors, man, throughout the week. There's always, my brother-in-law's brother and his wife and their new baby and their dog comes over and his parents come over and it's...
And you still have your space for quiet time and all that stuff. Yeah.
Well, I do. Yeah, I do. And everyone's respectful. And most of us work from home too. So we've got a little office with all our books and a printer and a few our desk space that we all work together. It's like this, but there's a couple more of us. And
how long have you been doing this for? How long you guys all living together for?
I think we did it for 3 or 4 years before we had kids.
Okay.
Just the two couples and then some of our kids. And then, when we adopted our twin daughters right before the pandemic, and we brought them home on Christmas Day.
Wow.
Awesome. So we had to go to South Korea twice, and we celebrated Christmas twice because of the time difference, which was really cool, and it was the best Christmas gift yet. But after that happened, my wife's parents, they're visiting from Long Island, New York. Home of Sons of Abraham, Rakim, MF Doom, all the classics.
De La Soul, EPMD.
And Witch's Brew, the coolest coffee shop on Long Island. But yeah, they wanted to come stay with us and they wanted to be close to the family and they were looking around and we were just like, just live with us and let's just start looking for a place. We looked at one place that had, sorry, the theme is like animals living in the walls, but we looked at a place that had hundreds of mice living in the walls.
What's going on, man?
The really old place in Massachusetts, but it was a cool looking property, but we're like, all right, this is going to take a lot to fix. There's some asbestos on the pipes in the basement. This isn't really worth it.
So you live with your family and all of her family?
Yeah, it's me, my wife, her twin sister, my wife Katie, her twin sister Chrissy's husband Kevin, Kevin and Chrissy's kids, our kids, my wife's parents. Wow, man.
Yeah. And everybody all splits it together.
We all split the mortgage.
Incredible, man.
Yeah.
Oh,
and all the, all the things that go wrong or that we have to do around the house.
I wonder how many people are doing that in this country anywhere. That probably maybe overseas.
They do this in a lot of countries. This is the way it used to be. Yeah. And it's the way it should be. It gets lonely living alone and just things happen. Someone gets hurt. What is tricky is if one person gets sick, the whole house gets sick.
Ooh.
And then when you get 4 kids, going to school and coming back. But we are able to quarantine. And
I was going to during the pandemic, it must have been kind of hard. Yeah,
we've safely been able to quarantine within the house and stop the spread of some things.
Cool.
But,
wow, man.
Start a school, you take out your bingo card, somebody's going to get pink eye, holiday season, diarrhea is going to go through the house at some point.
It's so true.
But, at least you're on the toilet with good company and
that's crazy,
you know what I mean?
That's cool. I want to mention too, like your donations, you donate to like children's hospitals and Red Cross and the Haiti Foundation. You do a lot of
we've donated to hundreds of organizations. If anyone's listening and you've got an organization, charity near and dear to your heart, please hit us up. The quickest and easiest thing that we can do is donate a gift basket to any silent auctions, any silent charities. This is something we do almost weekly when people are contacting us. We do a lot of work with the ACLU. We've done work with Strong Women, Strong Girls, the Trevor Project, really... anything that is good and lines up with us, one T-shirt at a time. The world's a crazy place. We're not a green company, and unfortunately, I make things, but we tried to, with our T-shirts, we use less poly bags now. We've gone away with that and instead just try to have a clean warehouse so we can have less plastic.
That's cool.
We print our shirts for the most part locally, either in Waltham, Massachusetts, the husband and wife team, or with this company over in New Hampshire. Shout outs to Blue Dolphin and AWOL Print Co. And we started planting a tree with every shirt we sell with an organization, Trees for the Future.
That's awesome.
And they don't just plant trees, but they plant trees that grow, fruit or vegetables, and they teach entrepreneurship in different communities and try to, so yeah, whatever we can do to help. Yeah,
it's awesome. Are you still doing your monthly zine? Or is that a while ago?
Oh man, that's I'm shaking my leg talking about it right now. We came out with a zine called the Baker Zine. Before that, we had a zine called the Cupcake Chronicles, and
that's cool.
And it was kind of like highlights for adults. So you'd get your word search, and I'd feature a recipe, like a family recipe. I'd do a puzzle, or I'd hint at the next release. For the Baker Zine, that was like 40 to 60 pages, full color. I worked with some great designers in Australia on that one, and I've got great kind of full-time freelancers that I work with around here. Again, big shout outs to Dale and to Corey and Chris and Cole and Travis in Australia. He helps out every now and then. But and Rye's been a big help. But yeah, that zine was a lot of work, but I loved working with people in Australia on it, because as I'm getting ready for bed, I still get this second jolt of work I can do. Yeah. And I get to wake up and feel like Christmas morning, because there's, the draft of a zine that's ready to go out. So I really want to bring that back. We would feature a customer every month. We call it the Cupcaker of the Month.
Oh, that's cool.
We'd have a full page spread of all, Instagram profiles of customers too, that were wearing their Johnny Cupcake shirts, and
that's awesome.
I love that. That's something I'm.
Might bring it back.
Thanks for bringing that up. Definitely want to bring that back.
Also, competitive ping pong.
I love ping pong. Yeah, I have very short shorts and a sweatband that I'll play. I've been in a couple of ping pong tournaments that I've lost.
Are you still playing it?
Immediately too. When I can. Yeah. My brother-in-law Marvin, his wife, she smokes us. D. She's
really.
Yeah, she is incredible. But yeah, I want to make more time for ping pong.
You have a ping pong table at your house?
I used to, but I had to give up a couple things when we combined multiple families. And I think if the kids get into it, I think I might be able to
bring it back.
Build my case on bringing that back. But there's a great place called Spin that Susan Sarandez opened up. They're in a few major cities. I think there's one out here too. And the best part about Spin being a ping pong place is they have full-time employees that just walk around with nets that catch the balls that go on the floor. So you can fully focus on that. I love playing candlepin bowling too. It's a big thing in Massachusetts.
Candlepin bowling? Okay.
Yeah, they're smaller balls. They're like the size of ski balls. And instead of bowling twice per turn, you get to bowl 3 times. And it's usually 2 turns per person.
That's cool. I love bowling.
But yeah, my mom was on a candlestick bowling league. And if you ever visit Massachusetts or New England, look for candlepin bowling. It is addicting. It's more difficult than the big ball traditional bowling. And if you're really lucky, you could find a duck pin bowling place. And I know this, you and I spoke before, but I got invited to be the keynote speaker for the National Bowlers Association. And it's people that own bowling alleys. They call them centers. Alley has a negative connotation to it, so they want you to use the word center. So
because alley is like alleyway.
I guess so. I don't know. Alleyway crew. I like alleys. I think alley's cool. But yeah, all these people from bowling alleys came out. We actually designed a T-shirt for a bowling center in Japan. Mostly mom and pop brands. But yeah, I learned about a lot of things that are getting phased out and things that are still tradition, but the duck pins are great. And if you're really lucky, you could find a place like Boston Bowl that's usually open 24 hours in Dorchester, Massachusetts. And you could choose big balls, you could choose candlepin, you could play pool in the other room.
Are you good at bowling?
Candlepin, I've got a couple moves up my sleeves, yeah.
Are you still doing magic?
Every day.
Every day?
Every day.
Still learning tricks and stuff?
I trick people every day. I don't know if I have one on me, but I usually carry around fake cockroaches or a deck of cards. I always have something in my wallet, but
that's so cool.
I have so many fake hands.
Really?
Just from So once a year, I usually go on this binge on eBay and I'll look up vintage pranks.
Yeah.
Because my mom used to take me to work with her when I had school vacation. And she'd take me to Jack's Joke Shop in Boston or Don's Joke Shop in Quincy or all these magic shops that were in Faneuil Hall. And I don't know, it brings me in a happy space. And I love finding original pranks. Like, no one else probably cares about this, but you know how they have the fake can of nuts and you open it and a snake, spring-loaded snake shoots out.
Love that.
Well, I found a glass jar of mustard, and it's so hard to find snake shooting pranks that are made with glass. And because you could put it in your refrigerator and chill it, and then it makes it even more realistic.
Oh my goodness! What year is that from? What year does that come out?
Oh, I don't know. I bought a bunch of dribble glasses lately, so they're glass cups that have an ornate design on it, and there's a little tiny hole in the glass, so it makes someone dribble down their face when they're drinking it.
It's great.
You could get fake spoons that are flat but they look like they have a dip, so when you're scooping up something, it kind of slips right off of that. You can get a remote control fart machine. You can get my first date with my wife Katie, I had this remote control that can shut off 99% of the TVs in the world. So it like scrambles with TVs.
No way.
And we went down Lansdowne Street. So you've got, Fenway Park on one side, and then you've got all these sports bars that were packed with people. There must have been a Yankees game or big game going on. And I was like, Katie, you got to check this thing out. And our first date, I turned off all of these big TVs during a giant play in a game.
No way, dude.
And I did it right through the glass. Yep. And the doorman saw me, and we got chased on our first date. We had to hide in the movie theaters. There used to be a movie theater in Fenway area. And we watched Pirates of the Caribbean 3, and she called me back the next day. So
so once you turn it on, can you turn it back on?
Yeah, you can.
But you didn't.
You can. No, I mean they already were onto me, so I had to get out of there. The best thing is going to Best Buy and pretending you're scratching your armpit and you're really holding the remote, and you turn off the TVs that a guy's trying to sell somebody. So you could have a lot of fun with it. It's very light.
You could buy these things anywhere?
Yeah, you could get it on eBay. You might even get some on Amazon, but if you can, support an independent prank dealer.
I can walk down my street at night and see people watching TV, and it's
if you've got if you're within distance and there's not too much of a reflection on the glass, you can have a blast with this thing.
That's crazy. Was that a recent Weezer collab?
Yeah, we did a Weezer collab. Thanks for bringing that up.
That's really cool.
We packaged the Weezer t-shirt for their Blue album. We packaged it in a giant, looked like a giant cassette tape that opened up.
Saw that.
So that's another packaging one. We've done around the holidays. We did a pumpkin pie in a can, and you pull your shirt out. We've done cans of frosting with fake drips that we put paint splatters on, and it smells like frosting when you open it up.
Is there a new book coming too? No.
I'm always working on a book. Yeah.
How many books you have out?
I've been featured in a bunch, so I haven't published anything. I've
so
got all my zines that I've,
You should do a book, dude.
Yeah. I have one that I've been working on that I think I'm going to call it Short Stories by a Short Guy Who Sold Millions of Short Sleeve T-Shirts. Really long title, but I think it's pretty funny.
It sounds like a Fat Records compilation. That is really genius.
And I'd love to do a spoken word version that's released on vinyl. That has like frosting swirl design on the vinyl.
You got to do a book, man. That's something you haven't done yet.
So I'm about 80% done with this one book if I take it into a certain direction. It's more. It's written in kind of a prose style of storytelling, and just every page is a different story. So you could flip to any page, or you could read the whole thing as one. But then I have another book I was working on that's more of directions on how to make cool packaging, how to set up a pop-up shop tour. But I don't know. Sometimes you get that, what's that thing called? The imaginary voice that tells you you're not good enough.
Oh, yeah.
Imposter syndrome. Yeah.
Yeah.
That like
You get
stops
that?
me every couple months.
Really?
With writing, I think sometimes I'm like, who's gonna read this? And does anyone have the attention span anymore? And everybody's glued to TikTok. And
Oh yeah.
but then I'm like, I need to, I want to leave something behind, at least for my kids. I want to just, yeah. I mean, they're my everything. My girls. I really. That's
Being a dad's amazing. We talked about that earlier, man. It's incredible, man.
It's hard to care about it's like nothing else matters,
I
but at
know.
the same time everything matters because you need to keep things going. You need to keep the lights
care
on.
of them. Yeah, man.
So
it's really interesting.
And
you see
I
the
love
world
it.
totally different when you have kids, man.
You do. I have girls and I have girls that don't look like me. And so I grew up in a little white town surrounded by other white towns, and just beyond that we're a couple more white towns. And I'm lucky my mom was a hippie who taught me lots of great things. I'm lucky my charter school had kids from all walks of life, and we had a diversity class in 9th grade, 10th grade. And then being in a band, I got to
travel,
hang out in Hialeah, Florida. I got to hang out in
cultures,
San Bernardino, and just see the world.
Totally, man.
A lot of times some people will leave their town, but they'll just go to like a resort in Florida or Key West. And
it's true.
But yeah, I see things everywhere I go. It's like you're given this, I always notice this stuff, but even more, I'm just like, how many women work at this company? How diverse is this? And where do they donate their money to? And who runs the company? And even just being a curious person in general, anytime I go to a restaurant, I want to know, I want the story. I want to support a family-run brand. I want to, I don't know. And if anyone's listening who has a business, share your story. It's the only thing that has your brand DNA. It's something that can't get replicated. Share your first concert, your bad haircuts, your share your story. I know when I was looking around to buy refrigerators for my store, my t-shirt store, every website looked the same. But when I found that father and son like auction house that sold janky, kitchen equipment. But
That's
man,
cool.
family's everything. It's hard to leave home. Sometimes it's always hard to leave home, but I'm lucky I get to work from home most of the time.
And do what you love. You're your own boss.
Yeah. And my girls, I got to bring them to help me build out my store. They put out all the greeting cards.
So cool.
One of my daughters helped pull nails out of the wall, in a very safe way with her little gloves and her hard hat and goggles. And
was Newberry Comics like your last real job?
That was my last real job.
Wow. That's cool.
Yeah, man.
That's a long time, man.
I'm very, very lucky and fortunate. And, I think it's so important to have multiple things going on.
Yes.
As I said earlier, every day I start with $0 income, and it's not steady. I don't know if people need another t-shirt, and I don't know if there's going to be a pandemic or a war or a, it helped when people worked from home during the pandemic because t-shirts were the new uniform. But
they were, man. How was that for you during that? Was it super slow? Was it?
It was tough. I mean, I definitely had to make some tough decisions. We shrank in some ways and grew in some other ways. We found a printer named Tiny Fish out in Rochester, New York. They helped us out big time. They started doing our fulfillment for us, our printing for us, our customer service, and they got us through a very, very tough year. But then we brought it back in-house because I signed a 10-year lease on a bigger space. So I found this, I've been on Newbury Street for 17 years.
Yep.
In between those years, I had my Hull store in my hometown, in the boat garage. I had my Martha's Vineyard shop in Oak Bluffs. Had a shop in London off of Carnaby Street.
Melrose up the street.
Melrose Ave in West Hollywood.
Shop,
yeah. You came out. Your guy was little when you brought him out.
Man.
I was there for 8 years, but I was so young and I didn't negotiate with rent. I went in right before the market crashed, but I was like, man, if Kid Robot and G-Star and Paul Frank are across the street and Bathing Apes opening up over here.
That was a street.
And New Era hats and Adidas.
Right.
Adidas was right there.
It's all gone now, too.
And I was
Except for G-Star might be there, maybe. I don't know.
But we made it work, and unfortunately, I did pay a lot more than other people were paying in rent, but we built a community around the brand and
It was cool, man.
grew our following. It's t-shirt weather year-round here in California. It's where we ship a lot of our online orders to. But yeah, I got to a point where I had 5 stores and more than 40 employees, and the thing I built for freedom felt like a prison I built around myself. And I learned that you can change your definition of success. And when I was younger, that was, can I have 2 stores? Can I have a store? Can I have a store in another coast? Imagine if I open a store in another country. I have no idea what that was insane.
Yeah.
That was insane. Getting off the plane, my dad was playing the Clash's London Calling on his iPhone.
Come on, dude.
So happy.
Wow.
Never been there before. My mom had never been there. She wanted to see all the Queen,
That's incredible,
landmarks,
man.
and we together as a family, we
That's beautiful.
we opened up
man.
a shop there, and I learned a lot. I think I had a chip on my shoulder. I didn't want to print my t-shirts anywhere else, so we shipped all of our shirts to London. So
so expensive.
I ate up a lot of my profit margin with that.
Wow, dude, that's crazy.
And there would be a line of customers waiting for t-shirts, and we learned that they're held up in customs.
Oh,
And
man.
customs don't give you the best communication
They
of when
don't.
they're going to come out. But I met some of my best friends over there at the time of my life with my parents, and walked so many miles on those streets. And
How many years was that store there for?
I had that store for 4 years,
Okay.
4 strong years. We were there
Yeah.
for the Olympics.
Oh, that's cool.
We had Spike Lee came into our store, Jude Law, what's his name? Doc Rivers from the Celtics.
Oh, that's awesome, man.
We had some really cool little celebrities pop in, and then just the best customers, the most appreciative customers over there. I had Rube Goldberg devices made for that store. So these, think of the beginning scene in Pee-wee's Playhouse, Pee-wee's
Okay.
Big Adventure. But we had little marbles launching off of these ramps and going
Oh,
down.
that's
and
cool, man.
I felt bad because it was so loud in there, but people looked in those windows like it was a store around the holidays, and I loved it. But yeah, I got to a point.
Like Home Alone.
Exactly. Yeah. All the little contraptions.
Yeah, it's also like the Christmas, like in Home Alone, he goes to
Oh yeah, Mr. Duncan's toy chest, toy
wherever
box.
he goes to during Christmas.
He got the doves for
It's
the
like magical looking in that store, and he's going in there. He's looking at all the stuff.
Yeah. He saved that place. Those bastards tried robbing it. They threw a brick through the window.
They did.
Yep. But yeah, man, I got to a point in my life where I didn't want to babysit other people, and I wanted to have a stable relationship, and I wanted to start a family, and
Some adulting.
I wanted to focus on one store and do it really good instead of 5 stores, and kind of always be a few months behind on this
It
project.
must have been
or that.
stressful, man.
It was. I mean, it would have been more stressful, but I had a great team, and anyone who's ever worked with me, no matter what their role was, has helped contribute. And I didn't always hire people that always knew what they were doing. I didn't know what I was doing. I still don't know what I'm doing.
Still learning.
I learn something new every day, but you stay curious, and you don't beat yourself up, and you gotta put yourself out there, and you gotta try. But yeah, focusing on that shop, focusing on being a dad, and I started taking painting classes. I'm learning to do lettering
cool,
on
man.
windows and signage.
Yeah, like
and
barbershops and stuff. You're talking about the tattoo shops, all that.
I've always loved writing different letters, and I love graffiti, but
Yeah.
I want to.
Did you ever write graffiti?
I did a little bit when I was back in the sweeps days.
What was your
yeah.
name? Did you have a name for that too?
I had Crazy with a K.
Ooh, okay.
And that tipped my hat a little bit to Insane Clown Posse, because there was this group signed to them called Twisted.
Yeah, I remember that, yeah.
And Twisted had a group way back called House of Crazies. And they rapped about Halloween. And that was
Are you an official juggalo or no?
my tag. I was a juggalo. But I told a juggalo that once when I was on an airplane, and you know what he said. If you're not now, you never were.
Wow.
And I was
That's
like,
some
man,
straight edge thing.
I was like, man, you have no idea. I
Used to be.
I'll listen to ICP's Riddlebox album around Halloween. I just bought the Great Malenko too recently because I was going down
cool,
on,
man.
and I bought the shirts that I had when I when I went to their House of Horrors tour, right when Great Malenko was coming out. But I was one of the first people at the Palladium and I didn't move my spot. I got drenched with Faygo.
Wow,
and my
super fan.
mom dropped us off. My mom painted my friend Luke and I's faces, and
that is incredible, man.
She made us boiled hot dogs for lunch before she dropped us off, and she took us out. I think we were doing our like MCAS tests or something that day, and I had this thing in school. I had this can that I made, and I drew Great Malenko's face on it, and I cut a hole in the mouth, and I called it the ICP fund, and every day I would ask people to contribute to the ICP fund, and I'd try to save up enough so I could get a.
Did people know who they were back then?
Some people did. It was that was a turning. I mean, I think playing Woodstock, that famous 1999 Woodstock was their big break. But man, they
super DIY. We do all their merch. They like
everything.
Their own label. They're really smart businessmen.
Yeah, they just did an interview with Drink Champs. You should check out.
I saw that.
Yeah, Shaggy Too Dope was great on that.
I saw a clip from that talking about something. I forgot it was Eminem or something. Oh, Kid Rock
and Eminem. Oh my God,
I saw that. Yeah. But those guys are still legit, still doing it. Like
they bring up so many. They put on that Gathering of the Juggalos festival, and they bring up so many independent artists. They bring people on tour that are just starting, and they have such a loyal following. It's
all like DIY independent. Like it's incredible, man.
And you go to these shows, people might have their faces painted, but you've got people there that are doctors and artists and families, and it's and they're so welcoming.
Yeah.
It's
a crazy community, man. Like it's really its own subculture.
I love it.
I've never been to one of those before. I know friends who like.
I haven't been to the Gathering before, but I will go with you if you ever want to go as a first time. I also want to go to they have a famous Halloween show they put on called Hallowicked in Detroit.
Ooh. It'd be sick to see them in their hometown.
Yeah.
So what about this break-in you had that you documented?
Oh yeah, I had a big break-in.
Have the people been caught? And that was crazy. Just like watching like your documentation of the whole thing and like the updates and stuff and like.
Yeah, man, it sucks. I think what.
How long ago did that happen?
I think what is the worst about owning a company is when people steal from you or take advantage of you.
So violent, yeah.
And when you love people and you're a softie, in that
see the good in everyone,
and that starts to like give you these, I don't know, this perspective that you really don't want to have, and it makes you hesitant on like meeting new people, and
sucks.
Makes you not want to leave your house. I had an employee once who used to steal our stuff and trade it. He would take our inventory out without telling anybody. He would trade it with other companies for their merch.
Swap outs. Oh yeah.
And then he would take that merch and sell it on eBay. It was almost like money laundering.
Interesting hustle.
And it might not sound like a big deal, but for my company's size, like man, this is like a person I would have given blood for. I've made up every position in the book to keep this person employed. And
was he like I'm a rep for Johnny Cupcakes? I'd love to send you something. I'd like to check out some of your stuff. Like trying to do like having like a relationship like that as a person from your company. You think he was just swapping like I'll trade you mine for yours, and then
it was all sorts of stuff. I mean,
so it seemed that you try to act like it was legit coming from employee from China.
I mean, we did a big project with G-Shock, and I had someone from G-Shock reach out to me later on and ask about these watches that they sent that apparently were supposed to be on our models and in photo shoots. And I looked into it, and they went up on eBay the day they came in.
Wow, man.
And I don't know if that screwed up our relationship with G-Shock, but
it's a bad look.
So that hurts. And I don't know. I like to give everyone the benefit of the doubt.
Could be going through something. Who knows?
Maybe they're going through something, and I hope, I still
hope it was worth it.
Yeah, and I hope everybody gets to a good spot where they don't have to do stuff like that.
Exactly.
But yes, I've had that happen a few times, and I had and it just it sucks. I can still feel it. I still have nightmares about this stuff. I really do. I had someone break into my LA store, and they stole merchandise, but they wore their Johnny Cupcakes hoodie as they broke into the other stores on the street, who sent us security footage. Like when Crooks and Castles was on Melrose, they broke into Crooks and Castles with their Johnny Cupcakes hoodie on.
Oh my!
So we got some type of free press out of that one.
Whoa! I remember Crooks and Castles. That's right. But
yeah, recently we had my store broken into, and the person knew our lockbox code, and
that's scary.
And I fired 3 people weeks before this happened. I had friends in town visiting for my mom's services, my mom's wake, and they went into my store and nobody talked to them. People were sitting on the counter, ignoring customers. My friends were in there for a while. Even Chino from the Deftones came in on that day too.
Oh,
my one of my favorite bands, and to look back and learn that, like, my best friends and some of my favorite musicians came into my shop and didn't even get greeted.
Wow.
My rent is not cheap there, and that is every interaction counts, and
Absolutely.
Nobody's there to sell t-shirts. They're there to make friends, to give ice cream recommendations, to ask where people are from. And so I let these 3 people go. And upon looking back at the security footage, because I can look back 30 days on my phone, on my computer, I could look back up to 60 days.
Got you.
I found these people were vaping marijuana in my store on the sales floor, ignoring other people. I saw somebody steal a shirt from us, and
wow,
just everything I wish was not happening. But I don't check my
cameras.
Must be hard
to
all the
watch
time.
That too, man.
I don't like looking at those cameras.
I wouldn't want to see it either.
My cameras are there. My cameras are there for the safety of my employees. But it just so happened to be,
especially when you think you know who it is and you see something like that, you're like, it's her.
It killed, man. I can feel it. Anytime this has happened, it sticks with me forever. And I legit have nightmares about this. But yeah, I looked into it more, and so I went on this whole little scavenger hunt. I told the Boston police.
Okay.
They hired a detective for me. But I still it wasn't quick enough for me.
Yeah.
The thing that killed me is, like, this person had to have worked for me. And if they worked for me, they knew that I was grieving the loss of my mom, who had just passed away.
Brutal.
And for someone to do that in general, but also during that time, is just so messed up.
Totally.
So I'm walking around Newbury Street. I'm looking around. I'm noticing cameras in places I've never seen on different buildings. I'm talking to managers. I'm getting footage from the Back Bay Architectural School. I went to this, like, realty company. I got some footage from them, but we can only see the legs of the people. I got the rooted in across the street. They're like a dispensary, and I got some great footage from them, and I actually saw the suspect. They were masked up, though.
How many?
Well, I saw one guy, or one person, and it's great that I saw this outdoor footage, because my footage was in night vision, which flips the colors that people wear. And sometimes it doesn't flip certain colors, so it's very hard to put out a description. But got the person, saw the person, got all the clothes they were wearing. Talked to the ramen shop around the corner, the shop around there. Nope, I knew they didn't go to the street. They must have traveled from this area. Got more info for the police. I'm giving the detective, like, a golden platter of stuff. And then I got something great that came in. The architectural school got me footage, and I learned that there was a second person, a lookout person. And while this person had a mask on, they had all the same clothes that they wore when they worked for me. And I know because I looked back on 60 days of footage, and it's not just generic clothes. It's a very unique Nike tracksuit. It's a very unique, like, inverted Nike Dunks.
Oh, man.
And it's the same build and size, and it's the person. And we got a license plate. We got a car make, sort of a license plate number. I gave everything to the cops, and I just the the guy hasn't gotten back to me. It's been months. But so part of me wants to teach a lesson, almost as like a father
Does this
figure.
person know that you know?
I don't know that they know I know.
They might know now.
So I want to teach them a lesson in a way like listen, they might do this somewhere else and get killed. They might do this somewhere else and go to jail. But then I looked into it some more, and this person, you know, they're rapping about guns and all this stuff, and I don't even want to poke the bear at this point.
Oh, so they rap too?
It's like a young kid that you know. And I feel bad because I know.
But still.
But I feel bad because I know I know this person's situation.
Mm-hmm.
But the other part of me is like, man, like, why me? Like, I did so much for you, man. And
yeah, it's so hard. It's so tricky with that stuff too, because it's like, yeah, you want to teach this person a lesson, and right and wrong, and you're not supposed to do that. That's illegal. I don't know, man.
And I've got another one of the other guys reaching out to me who's still not understood why he got fired, and they tried collecting unemployment, but they couldn't because
he's one on the video.
Yeah, it's like, dude, you were smoking in my store. That's not just against the rules, but that's illegal in Massachusetts. Even vaping, you can't vape indoors. There's a indoor smoking act.
And he's one of the persons who robbed you.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know about that person.
Yeah.
But he was buddies with the other guy, and I wish the best for everyone. But man, with the stuff happening with my mom, that like sent me to a very dark place, and
yeah, I can imagine.
It just made me not want to have a company. Like I sometimes have days where I do a Google search on what can I do where I don't have to rely on people? What can I do for work where I don't have to get disappointed? Because I don't have the space in my heart or my mind to harbor negative energy and to be up at night. I've got enough things to worry about with my dad's, some of my dad's, you know, health conditions that he's going through, and with my home stuff, and just me trying to take care of myself too. I can't.
It's important.
I don't know.
What was your goal in finding that person? Because you wanted them arrested? You wanted them to be in trouble and catch them?
I just wanted them to know that what they did isn't right, and that like, hey man, I'm not going to do anything, but
maybe you could have a conversation with this person somewhere, somehow, and say, yeah,
I want it to be a learning thing.
Yeah, like I have footage of all the stuff. I've already been to detected, but just so you know, like maybe like I've some like heart to heart. I don't know, man.
Well, this is what's odd. They didn't take any computers. They didn't damage the store.
What did they take?
They stole our petty cash. They stole our company debit card.
Have they used it?
We canceled the debit card, and luckily the one that they took was a deposit-only card.
Perfect.
They took a chunk of cash because we just had made a deposit the night before.
Yeah.
But we now, thankfully, do a lot more sales through credit cards and debit cards than cash, and we're doing more frequent deposits. So that's something that couldn't happen again. But what was also interesting is they locked the door after they left. You know, so I'm thankful like there wasn't any damage, but yeah. I think what hurt the most is just not knowing who to trust. Yeah, not knowing which person it was. I still don't know one of the other guys, and this person could be anywhere on the street. Part of me wanted to blow up a photo of the person I knew and put it on my window, but
you think that they saw the documentation you were doing online in the investigation?
I think they must have.
For sure.
I've never had more. I've never had as much interaction on social media with strangers in general. Like everyone I see is like, "What happened with the case?"
Yeah, they want to know.
And still. I loved it. I found out more stuff than the detective could find out, and at a faster pace. And I loved every minute of it. It turned a negative thing into like, I don't know. I just felt like I was Batman for a minute.
That's what I'm saying. That's crazy. You did all that work.
And I don't want to do anything bad to them. I was just really hurt, and part of me does not want them to mess up anymore, but I can't control that. And I want my employees to feel safe. I want my other employees and I want my neighbors to feel safe on my street.
Yeah. But yeah, and so if something doesn't happen to this person, he just gets away with it, or at least this person should know that that was him. There should be something there that stays on his conscience that you knew it was him, and he knows that you know that. And you're not going to do anything, and you're a fucking good person, and sometimes people take kindness for weakness, and you're fucking heartbroken about it. And like maybe having some heart-to-heart, like father-son type conversation with him, maybe wake him up, because maybe he's not having that where he's living. Who knows? I don't know.
I know.
Do you know what I'm saying?
I thought about everything.
Because I know you can get so emotional talking to him too. It'll be emotional as hell too.
Like I feel it, like my heart legit hurts,
Yeah.
like thinking about that. And even more so thinking about just friends that worked with me in the past that took advantage. And I again want to forgive everybody and give everyone the benefit of the doubt. I'm just, it just really sucks. And it really,
there's givers and there's takers, man.
yeah, it really,
It sucks. I had learned that too, because I've always had open heart for, like, I feel the world's pain. I'm very sensitive. I'm very emotional. I see the good in everybody. My wife said that's my weakness at sometimes.
Are you, did I ask before, are you a Cancer? Is your,
No, I'm Aries, man.
Aries, okay. Yeah,
Are
I'm a July guy, but yeah, man, I cry.
Same.
I pull over in the park. I cry at Trader Joe's parking lot. I
Listen to a certain song or it's something, anything, man.
Yeah.
Movie, all that.
I love Elliott Smith. That is like medicine.
Coldplay's
I
my
love.
medicine.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, sad
I always feel like I'm
music feels good though.
Yeah, I always feel like I was always too sensitive for hardcore, and I should have been in a different band.
I
you know,
was definitely I was definitely too sensitive.
Everyone was so tough and so macho and so like, and like.
Well, I feel like I'm too sensitive for business sometimes too, because when I had all these employees, I didn't want to go over their shoulder. I didn't want to make them feel uncomfortable. The other part of me is like, what are you doing on these computers all day? Because this isn't done. And why am I finding invoices for other clients in our copier? And
there's also a generation of kids that just don't want to work, and kids just want to be famous off of YouTube, and kids just want to hustle, make money like you were doing before the internet, like selling stuff or trying to do things. But now it feels like there's a generation of young kids who just they just want to be famous. They want to be paid right away. Nobody wants to work for shit.
even want to help those people too, but I need some help too. When I'm paying them, I need a little bit of focus. But I'm happy to do anything. And I've learned too that, you know, if you hire creatives, like you can't give them a 9-to-5 job and in an office. Like they need to work at a specific, their own speed and their own space. So I love working with freelancers now, because I don't need to pay for a bigger office. They get to be stay-at-home, you know, moms or dads, and I don't feel disappointed if they're doing something else instead of working, as long as they get me this design at a certain time, and it really works out best for everybody.
But going into a place to buy something and feel like you're annoying the person when you ask them a question.
That's the worst, man.
It happens all around now. It's not just probably your store. It's all around. It's
the only store I think that does it well is the Apple store.
Oh, incredible. They're on point.
They're on point with their employees. And
some restaurants, some spots, but like usually...
There's
like
one ice cream shop I used to go to. This one ice cream shop, one of my favorite places, but they used to have this two people working there that just were grumpy. And it's like, man, I used to work at an ice cream shop. You cannot work at an ice cream shop if you're going to be a downer. Like you got to be the sprinkles on their ice cream. You got to really, so I don't know. I like I said, I hope everybody there's a way for all of us to connect the dots.
Totally.
With the things we love and the things we're good at. Maybe we're not a good actor, but we're good at building things, and we can build sets for movies. Mm-hmm. Maybe we're not that great at design, but we can, you know, manage, be a brand manager at like Amoeba Records and be surrounded by design and music. Or we could be a promoter that sets up some of the coolest shows at the coolest venues. There's so many ways to do that, but it's also okay to work for other people too. I mean, I've had days where I've been curious about checking out at the end of the day and having a clear conscience when I leave work, and
totally,
you know, and you could be an entrepreneur at someone else's company, be an intrapreneur and be the person that comes up with cool ideas, but you have that safety net under you. But it's okay to change. Like we were saying, we've seen some of our friends' brands change, and
totally.
Ben over at the Hundreds just opened up a restaurant called the Benjamin, and our
check it out.
Our mutual friend Bobby Hundreds is working on books and movies
and everything. Yeah, he's very inspiring as well.
And I don't know that I want to die as the t-shirt guy. There's so much more I want to do. I I only know how to cook sweet potatoes at home. I need to learn how to cook more stuff. I want to, I want to just take class. I want to learn.
Yeah.
It's hard to want to learn when you're 18 and you haven't even learned how to shave that peach fuzz mustache that I had. And it's hard. It's hard at that age. And it should be illegal to make a financial decision that big without even knowing what the state next door to you looks like. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it is good to get the basics. If you're not sure what you want to do and you want to take some classes or an internship or job shadow for marketing, branding, sales, I feel like those are 3 things that you can really weave into any job. You could be any age to do that. Anytime I travel, I try to hit up another brand and just see what they're up to, and not even learn what's working, but what's not working. What should I be avoiding? What can we share with each other to just have a more breathable year ahead,
Yeah. Do you take time? You take time for yourself mentally and physically when you're home? You make time it's like a daily rituals for you?
Yeah, I try to go for a walk every day.
So good for you, man.
I just try to breathe more and unclench my jaw and lower my shoulders.
Yeah.
I love driving. I love driving with the windows down, and I love grocery shopping. Like, that's my meditation. That's
nice.
chaos for other people, but for me, I lean
Joe's.
against that carriage, and I love the olive oil aisle at Whole Foods and just seeing all the branding and the packaging. And
Interesting.
And I love just like, oh my God, why does this bottle make me feel like this little Greek yaya picked these olives in her backyard? And maybe it's the craft label and the verbiage and the cap and the...
So you see things differently than I see them. Like, just like when skaters drive down the street, they see a railing or like a bench. They see it as something they can do tricks on and create on. And you see things through like design and
I love that. That's therapeutic
cool.
to me, is that packaging. And old packaging too. I love going to, antique markets and getting, old cans of motor oil that have a fun typography or a mascot, like a cute chubby mascot on it. And but yeah, for me, I definitely I would love to see a therapist. I think I need to just...
You ever done it?
I haven't.
I just did it, man, this year.
Yeah. I've looked, and I feel like I need a therapist to look for a therapist.
Glad you brought that up. It was on my list too, therapy, yeah.
It's like I finally find someone that I think I'm going to match with, and then I look and they only talk to kids, or they only talk to divorced couples, and I just want to talk about my mom, or I just want to talk about...
Yeah, that's what I did. I just went for the first time. Because I've been writing songs about my dad my whole life. I've had all this stuff with my dad passing, and I finally went to therapy. I went twice so far, I'm not going to lie. But I went through a friend who was on this podcast who inspired me to go because of her crazy life. And then she turned her whole thing around, and then she gave me a recommendation for this trauma therapist, and I went to her, and it was pretty intense, man.
Did you go in person?
Yeah.
In what...
Like an old school, like sitting on the couch, just like in Sopranos.
How did you feel that first day, or did it take a couple sessions?
I'm just so emotional, and I could just start talking and stuff. And so I went for the first time just to meet her. She's like, "Slow down, you're telling me everything." And then I went back, and then she gave me this book. It's called Grandchildren of Alcoholic Grandparents, which is very interesting because we started tracing stuff back to my mom, my mom's father, and how he treated my mom. All this crazy stuff, like. So there's a bunch of layers that I'm starting to peel back, which I'm a little nervous about because I have a wonderful, amazing life, wife, family, everything I've done. I've really had a wonderful life. And I'm afraid if I start peeling back layers and stuff, I might find something that might be, I don't know. But so far it's been interesting.
Yeah.
That's the thing about it.
I would really like that.
And talking to a stranger who knows nothing about you.
I think that's the best part too.
Yeah. No judgment, no, I don't know.
Yeah, I would like to do that. Yeah,
I think it's gonna be good for you, man.
I've been playing Bananagrams. That makes me feel good. It's like Scrabble, but it's like it's like a little fast-paced Scrabble. Yeah, it's amazing. You pour out this banana bag that has tiles in it, and you flip all the letters over, and you count to 3 and say split maybe. And you each have 21 letters, and you have to make as many words as you can. And And once the first person is finished with their tiles, they say peel, and then you pull another tile from the bag, and you keep pulling and pulling, and
wow,
whoever goes out first.
I haven't heard of that.
It's good. There's been a couple things that have brought me and my wife, my partner Katie, together. It's so cool when you find something later in life that you didn't realize you both love.
Yeah.
So I didn't know that she really loved Mars Volta, and so
That's
her
cool.
and I will drive around and eat sour straws and listen to Mars Volta, and and then this Bananagrams. It's been addicting. So once the kids go to
Wow.
bed, we try to get in a few of these games.
I'm looking that up too.
Yeah.
You seem like a very chill person. Like, do you get stressed out?
I mean,
how do you handle that?
worried sometimes, but
You seem so chill.
I take a nap every day.
Me
and
too. I try to.
if I'm tired, I fell asleep at a rave once when I was younger. No, drug free. I was just tired. I went to sleep.
My wife fell asleep at Fugazi once.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. So like,
So things.
how do you get it out? Like, you're stressed out. You're walking. You drink coffee?
I don't drink coffee, but
Same.
maybe once every 2 years I'll have like a little Vietnamese iced coffee with a banh mi sandwich, or I'll have like an affogato with dessert,
Nice.
or an iced chai with extra almond milk.
Ooh.
But I don't need.
You don't need
I don't-
caffeine.
I don't avoid caffeine to avoid
Avoid it.
caffeine. I don't need it.
No tea and other stuff. Yeah.
I'll drink a little tea if I'm sick, but
You're a pretty
No.
healthy eater.
pretty healthy. I eat whatever we're making in the house. It's pretty
Yeah.
healthy. My vice is, I think, popcorn, but it's good
I
fiber.
love popcorn.
Every night.
He brought me some nutritional yeast, which I put on my popcorn every time I eat popcorn. That's like my vegan cheese. Yeah, I love it.
Yeah,
I
Little
love
La-
popcorn.
Little Lads popcorn seasoning. They're from Maine.
Okay, thank you for that.
They're sold. The bags of popcorn are sold in some stores, but somebody they sell the seasoning on their website and online, and
I love popcorn.
it's
That's
really
my
good.
favorite
Yeah.
snack, dude.
It's got a little bit of dill in it, and for some reason it works with the nutritional yeast, and there might be like a little bit of garlic powder in there.
Oh man, I'm excited to try it. And popcorn's not bad for you, man. It's just
It's
like
not.
it's like a light
yeah.
carb. It's not bad.
Me and my sister-in-law, every night we eat popcorn, and we'll text each other if there's like a hot popcorn on the stove, and we do olive oil, and
I was gonna
and
say
we'll
olive
throw some
oil.
of that
Yeah,
stuff
yeah,
on it.
yeah. And what kind of corn? What kind of kernels? Does it matter really?
We use some Amish brand on Amazon.
You get send it to me. I'm
You,
interested.
you get less hulls, Hulls, not to be confused with the town I
Where
grew
you
up
grew
in.
up in, yeah.
But I think there's less unpopped popcorn and less crunchies and more of the
Like,
real
people always
deal.
say corn's really bad for you, but I love popcorn. I don't know.
Yeah, that's my thing.
That's your vice, popcorn?
That's my vice. Popcorn.
That's not bad at all.
I mean, so once in a while I'll go on my ice cream spree.
I love ice cream, dude.
Yeah, cheese too is bad. There's this cheese shop down the street from us that, God, they've got this triple creme cheese that is like the most velvet thing I've ever had in my life. But yeah, popcorn is my jam. And then to just get in the zone, I'd say walking. I love making lists. That's therapeutic for
I like
me.
that too. I do that too.
I feel like I'm at least getting organized if the thoughts are coming out of my head.
Yeah.
Or if I have check boxes next to things and I can physically have that gratification of checking something off.
Do you journal too?
I tried for a little bit. I want to get back into it. I want my kids to I want to document everything if I can, or at least for major holidays, just leave them some notes or
That's
some
cool.
stuff behind. I collect vintage typewriters. I have about 20-something typewriters.
That's awesome. My wife would love that.
And that helps me write better because there's no backspace and you think about your words with a lot more clarity and thought, and you get lost in the sound, and there's no backspace, and you're intentional with how you write.
That's cool.
Did get kicked out of a couple coffee shops for being too loud with my
Really?
typewriters. Yeah, but there's but who says these people on computers aren't hurting my eyes with their bright screens and loud
Really,
phones?
for being too loud. Wow. Get out of here, old man. Get out of here. What is that thing?
But there's one place, Trident Booksellers. They're our neighbors. They're like one of the oldest businesses on Newbury Street. They're a bookshop, independent bookseller, and they do a lot of great events, and they sell diner food, and they let me bring my typewriter in there, and they're
loud.
awesome. Yeah.
No dogs allowed, but typewriters.
Typewriters. And I get more people coming up to me asking about it than being annoyed.
Really?
And it is a pleasant sound. It's like I get more work done when I can work in a loud space, like a coffee shop, or I'm playing music.
It's the energy of people.
And there's a coffee shop app you can download that just has like clanking and chattering in the background.
Come on, man.
That
For
is,
real?
yeah, for real. Yep.
What about social media? How much time you spend on social
man.
media? The necessary evil for promotion.
Curse and a blessing.
Totally, dude.
Like
you checking DMs, you responding to people.
I am.
You let negative comments bother you.
No. I feel like I try not to be on it too much, but I have to post for my brand.
Dude.
I haven't felt comfortable letting someone do my social media because I feel like I'd be screwed without it. I really would.
Same.
I mean, I try to do a few things to build this safety nest for myself. Anytime there's a big release, I try to inspire people to sign up for my newsletter.
Yep.
So that if Instagram craps the bed, I can at least email them directly.
Which could happen.
And then I also love sending out physical mail to my customers once in a while.
That's cool.
Gmail has an auto filter that filters out promotions, and there's just, it's not good for people trying to reach the people who sign up for their email list. But yeah, around Halloween, we've sent out coffin-shaped flyers and stuff to our customers. We've sent out giant tickets for spooky pop-up shops that say Admit 5 on them, so people feel like they could bring their friends with them.
That's awesome.
So I think snail mail is, if I can tie the digital world and the physical world together, and they can dance with one another in a special way, I feel a little bit okay. So I'll do scavenger hunts around St. Patrick's Day. I dressed up as a leprechaun, and I had a special edition pot of gold themed T-shirt that you can only get if you physically find me. And it's not for sale. Yeah, it's not for sale.
Where were you?
You get it for free if you find me. So I was illegally hiding in people's bushes in Back Bay, Boston, and off of Boylston Street and Newbury Street and Com Ave, and I'd post clues on Instagram. And sometimes within minutes, 7 minutes, 8 minutes, 9 minutes, I'd hear a screeching car come to a halt.
No way.
People would run out, they'd get their shirt, we'd take a picture together, and then I'd go somewhere else and I'd take a photo of a clue to put on my Instagram stories. And
that's so cool.
And some people might think I'm crazy. I'm giving away all these free T-shirts, but if you got a free shirt from a little dude dressed as a leprechaun, anytime you wore that shirt for the rest of your life, it would be impossible to not share that story with other people. Dude. So I love that stuff. I love that stuff.
Like interactions with people. Yeah,
that's a good example of using social media for
are you checking messages from people and talking to people?
I do. I wish I didn't sometimes.
I know.
I want to be available, but I don't.
Yeah.
I need to turn it off at some point. It's tough before bedtime.
I never bring the phone in my bedroom. I'll shut off completely and I'll plug it in. I'll go in my room. I can't in the bed. It's so bad stimulation for you, man.
I try to look at dog videos before I go to sleep.
Okay.
And I watch so many of them that I now get advertisement for dog food, and I don't even have dogs. I just get all these
ads. It's crazy how that works, dude. That's a whole other thing, man.
But yeah, I think I'm getting pretty good at it.
You watch TV shows with your wife?
We do. I mean, we're a sucker for Law and Order SVU. If that's on, we got to keep watching until we get the bad guy. I mean,
how about movies? I know you love movies.
I mean, I like the Karate Kid series. It was cheesy, but
the new one, Cobra Kai.
Yeah, Cobra Kai.
Man, it was so cheesy. It was great though.
They did a great job with the music and
so good, dude.
Obviously love Stranger Things. And,
great, dude.
Shoot, what else?
That was really good. Stranger Things.
A lot of great series out there.
What about any major regrets in your life?
I mean, if obviously everything's led to to this
Totally.
this point right now, so I don't want to butterfly effect anything.
To this moment.
But I always wish I probably would have asked for help more. Even though I saw my mom every day, whether it was in person or FaceTime, and we worked together, and when somebody in your life dies, you wish you could have lived with them and slept in the same room as them and ate every meal with them.
Yeah.
And
But it sounds like she was a big part of your life, and she's such a positive influence.
She was.
And she was so loving and supportive of you, dude. All these memories of going to England with her and just her dressing up and supporting all. It sounds amazing, man.
Yeah, I got to show you some of the Halloween photos.
Yeah, man. She sounds so cool and so full of life,
So yeah, I don't know too many major regrets. I guess obviously when I was younger and got the LA shop, I wish I didn't rush. I wish I negotiated the rent. I wish I did more pop-up shops first. I knew the store would be successful, but man, my overhead was just too much. And same with London. I wish I printed my shirts there.
That was your pride, though. Like, this is where I'm printing.
Yeah, and I wanted to support my printer, and I knew the quality people would get.
You cared about the quality. Yeah.
And so those are just some little businessy things, but
maybe background checks moving forward on employees.
Yeah, I would like to be involved in every hiring process because I did not hire those employees.
Okay, there you go.
And I did not manage those employees.
I think that's important. That's legal to get a background check and see. Yeah,
it is. But like I
said, for yourself in your business,
and I still will have days too where I imagine what if I just turn my store into an ice cream shop? What if I turn my store into a used record shop? Newbury Comics, they're not selling too many used records. What if I sold used books? I love Triumph Booksellers, but they only sell new stuff, and there's some
Can't you do it all in that store?
I think I could.
Books and vinyl and ice cream and
so you
want to do a lot of things.
It's a cool space, and I want to try out some different things. And I could. I mean, that's what April Fool's Day is for, I guess, for trying that.
You could do a pop-up book shop in there for 1 week, or a pop-up records.
I have been doing some creative retreats, so I'll get 40 people in my shop, and I'll spend an afternoon with them or a morning and give everybody snacks and teach them everything that I've learned and do a big Q&A with everybody.
That's sick, yeah.
So I want to do more of those because it'll be nice to have people travel to me than me traveling to them. And I want to start renting out my space to more corporate meeting and event planners. They have a great budget, and they're the companies that they plan meetings and events for, they want to be inspired. They want to be in a cool space. So I want to offer up my shop and have a package deal where you get T-shirts for everybody with that, and I'm really trying to push that in the next 12 months. And
smart, man. Use the space.
I signed up for a booth at this trade show in Vegas. That's like the mother of all event planner trade shows, and it's not cheap at all. And I'm a little nervous, but I feel good because I know this is where my audience is that needs to know about these services that we do. And, I was telling you too, we do custom merch for companies. So
cool.
we kind of act as a little creative agency, and we'll do a special edition Johnny Cupcakes design collaboration shirt. And it's usually $50 a shirt, a minimum of 100 shirts. And we do the full package. And it's a good way to mix it up. So I think just trying to always have 5 things going just in case 4 of them don't work.
Absolutely.
Like I said, $0 every day when I wake up. What am I going to do to make this day special? But it is a lot of pressure, and there might be a day where I want to let go of that and or ask for help, but I have such a great team that I can have days where I'm getting lost in some books or picking up a new hobby. I try to be on our design calls every Tuesday. But yeah, my team does a great job just keeping things flowing, and it's good, man.
Besides your creative mind,
very grateful.
Yeah, what keeps you going? You thinking what's been a major influence for you as a human, as a person?
As a human, I mean, I got to keep going. I got a family. I never know what health issues might come up with family, and never know what misfortunes health issues might come up with myself. So as my mom would say, I have to strike while the iron's hot and just keep putting myself out there and making time for my pop-up shops, my collaborations, and my keynote speaking engagements. And see, it's like you see your kids and you want to be home. You also want to build that strong foundation.
Yeah, man.
And
Security, provide for them and all that. Yeah, just
so that keeps me going. I mean, I get inspiration from packaging, from cartoons, from I just like staying curious and being a curious inner child in me.
Yeah.
And, you know.
Are you checking out new brands and checking out new cartoons and new stuff, or?
I used to love Samurai Jack. That was like one of my favorite cartoons. And then back in the day, MTV had Liquid Television.
Yeah,
remember that? Or do you remember The State, that comedy show?
Maybe, yeah.
But yeah, I stay inspired through, I don't know, browsing cooking magazines, imagining that I can cook a little bit better. That's something I have to commit to doing, and I want to like surprise my family and not even tell them that I'm taking cooking lessons.
That'd be awesome, man.
You know, kind of make them nervous and make something that they're not too comfortable with me making, and kind of surprise everybody. Yeah. Playing out, I'll take my vinyl records, and there's a couple guys I get together with, and we do an all vinyl night and do, hip hop, soul, funk music, and we've got these break dancers who will come out, and that's been a fun thing, and that has been nice collaborating with other people, even though I got jaded from things that have happened in the past. It's nice to not bear the full responsibilities of an event and just having two other people to bounce it off of.
No more rapping for you.
No more rapping. No more rapping for me.
Are you listening to new hip hop and stuff? You pay attention to like the new hip hop, or
a little bit. I mean, only if it sounds like old hip hop. So
which is hard to find.
Run the Jewels, Joey Badass.
Great.
That sounds old.
That's cool.
But I love Pete Rock and CL Smooth.
There's a new Pete Rock Common record just came out.
Yeah,
a new Common record, like Common.
That's right. Yep.
Produced by Pete Rock.
I have that on my
your
list. Pick up list.
Yo, it's really good. It's straight hip hop. It's really nice.
I still buy CDs, cassettes, and vinyl. I still I need that feeling of opening the cellophane and trying to save the sticker on top of it, and the smell of the booklet, and I love it. I need that. Anything with jazz samples, Tribe Called Quest.
Best, dude.
House of Pains. They have two albums that weren't as popular as the Jump Around album.
Yeah, so same as it ever was as the second one.
Yep, and Truth Shall Crush Earth or something like that.
Yeah, I remember that one. There's some good stuff on that one.
Man, it is. Okay. Yeah, it is so much stand-up bass and just.
I have to check that one out.
Great stuff.
It was the third one. You're right.
My friends and I used to go. Even though we were straight edge, we'd go to Hemp Fest in Boston, which was this big marijuana festival that a lot of local bands would play. There was a record label in Boston called Wonder Drug Records, and there'd be bands like Tree and
I remember Tree.
Sam Blackchurch, but there'd be rappers like Acrobatic that would play, and Mr. Liff. And I clearly remember in the late 90s, somebody was on the House of Pain street team giving out stickers, and he had a coach's jacket on, and I was like, man, someday I want to be on a street team. Like, this seems like the coolest thing ever. And I was so fascinated with that, and just collecting stickers from skate shops and, snowboard magazines.
That's awesome, man. That. You have a sticker collection?
I have some stuff. What do I collect now?
One,
I used to collect so many things, from suitcases to pinball machines to
that's a lot.
Mickey Mouse watches to pranks. Oh, I was saying before, I have so many fake hands for my magic tricks, from costumes. I have a prank that looks like a real hand and it grips on a door, so you could put it on someone's closet or door at a party, and it looks like somebody's right there. But when we were going through the adoption process, we had to do, we had to have background checks, psychological assessment, everything that anybody should go through, no matter how they decide to be a parent.
Totally.
But we had to have a home study. So kind of like that mean old lady in Mrs. Doubtfire that checked on him when he put the pie on his face.
Yeah.
We had this lady go to our house, and she wasn't mean. She was a sweetheart, But the first thing I thought of was, what if she sees all these fake hands that I have? Is this like, is this strange? Am I okay that I am into like all these magic tricks and pranking people and fake cockroaches and, you know, hand buzzers? And so I gathered everything and I put it in a giant Tupperware bin and you put it in our closet. And she didn't go in that closet, but it's still there. And sometimes when I go on my business trips, I'll dip in there and grab a couple, you know, hand buzzers or magic tricks to take on my travels. And that stuff makes me feel grounded. That makes me feel like a kid. When I can incorporate pranking people, when I could have music in my life every day, you know, food, family, people, a little bit of exercise, a little bit of kind of being a daredevil, trying something new, trying a new way of marketing a t-shirt.
I listen to new like punk rock and stuff too, or hardcore. You keep your eyes and ears.
I'm just so nostalgic with what I know and what I love.
I can tell, man. Yeah.
But you know, that Glow on Turnstile album, I can't even describe what genre of music that is.
Yeah, it's great, man.
But that was my most listened to Spotify thing that year that it came out.
I think so for me too. It was incredible, man.
And I love how they consistently make their photos look old, their graphics look obscure. I love how
artwork's sick, yeah.
How they encourage people dancing. You don't feel like you're being judged at one of your shows. You've got ravers and grandpas and aunties,
civilians, everybody. Yeah, man.
Like, I think that's the purest form of music or community. Or, you know, there might be some tough hardcore guys that are like, that's not hardcore, but
yeah,
like everybody's got their own definition. But for me, that feels like an invitation to somebody's house, an invitation to someone's world.
I agree.
And people looking out for one another, and just, I love seeing their camcorder footage, like recaps. And
have you seen them live yet?
I did. I saw them live at Middle East Downstairs in Boston. Yeah.
Wow, that's a small one for them.
And I saw, what's the drawing a blank? What's the band that they share members with?
Trapped Under Ice?
The other band.
Angel Dust?
Angel Dust. Yeah, I saw them too. They're great. And they have such a unique, undescribable sound.
And that's the singer from Trapped Under Ice as well. Yeah.
Love what Scowl's doing.
Yes.
I love Flat Spot Records.
Crushing it.
Zulu.
Yep.
Just seeing how excited the band members in Zulu are, and seeing their merchandise alone makes me excited. Even without listening, even before listening to their music, I was just like, what are these guys doing? And, you know,
good kids are killing it too, man.
They seem
such
great.
a good community in the hardcore world right now. So much diversity and all this. It's beautiful, man.
But we toured with a lot of different, we toured with Embrace Today. We toured with Evergreen Terrace. We toured with this band Scarlet. We toured with the Red Chord. We did some shows with the Red Chord. They're great guys. I used to work with some of them at Newbury Comics. Greg Weeks, he's been in a bunch of bands. But other new stuff, I still visit Opposite of December by Poison the Well. Like, there's just the artwork on that album. There's like a skeletal horse in the winter.
Nice.
Whoever designed that album, and whoever designed that One Bleeding Through album with all the body parts, did an amazing job. I thought Trustkill Records and Ferret Records
Ferret. I remember that.
They carved out such a unique little world for themselves.
Nice you mentioned them. I forgot about those two, yeah.
Trustkill was also one of the more popular websites. They launched I think they own tourdates.com or something like that.
Okay.
They had a website where they listed all of their band tour dates, but they listed other people's too.
It was like Bands in Town or something.
Just like that. Yep. Yeah. Bands in Town. Oh my God. There used to be one called like Tri-State Punk too.
Was there? In
New England. But that was
cool.
Yeah, that was the best. But that's probably music for me. But there's this guy named, if you're into world music, there's a guy named Mr. Bongo who puts out
like Mr. Bungle.
Like Mr. Bungle, but Mr. Bongo like the drums.
Okay.
And he puts out all these undiscovered bands, and he puts in the work finding good music.
That's cool.
J-Rock is a great DJ. He's out in LA. He puts out some good mixtapes. This guy, Scheme Richards, out of Philly, he's DJ'd a lot of Red Bull breakdancing tournaments. He puts out great mixtapes, cassette tapes.
Did you ever breakdance?
Yeah. I tried. I tried.
Backspin, you got some moves?
I brought my girls to some hip-hop dance classes too, but I could do a couple little things. But I'm probably going to break something, man. I wake up with a cramp in the middle of the night every night, no matter how much water I drink. And I would like to see a therapist, and I would like to take yoga.
You know what that is? It's magnesium.
Magnesium, okay.
Some guy came up to me the other day. Some guy I kind of know at this, I always see him at this restaurant, and he touched my shoulder the other day. He's like, "How are you doing?" And he just tapped me like that, and he goes, "Hang on a second." He went like that, and he goes, "You're low in magnesium." I go, "Huh?" He's like, "Are you sleeping good at night?" I go, "No." He goes, "More magnesium." So I've been like going crazy. I did this whole Google search of every single thing I could eat. There's vegetables.
What are like 3 things I can eat that have magnesium in it?
Almonds, cashews, chia seeds.
Okay.
Bananas.
Oh yeah, bananas. I try to get
raisins. Quinoa.
Brazilian nuts are supposed to be really good. They have a thing in it called selenium, which I guess is something that's in eggs too, but it's in Brazilian nuts. It's supposed to be really good for your brain.
Uh-huh. Do you sleep good?
That's what this hippie lady told me.
Do you sleep good at night?
I do. Like I said, I could sleep through. Unfortunately, I could sleep through a fire alarm.
So you're getting like 8 hours a night usually?
6 to 8.
Okay.
Yeah. And then I'll get my nap.
2 young kids.
I'll get my nap too.
The nap's important. Yeah.
I think it's when everyone falls asleep. I just feel like
everybody's safe. Everybody's asleep.
I need to take advantage of this quietness.
Oh, you want to try to stay up?
I want to get a second wind, and and the ideas hit me too. Once the noise settles, I'm just like, all right.
There's a lot of people in your house, man. It's a lot.
Yeah. A lot of.
So is your office? You share an office too?
I do, but we have a couple office spaces that people can retreat to in the house.
That's cool.
And then I have my office that I rent in Weymouth that we do some fulfillment out of, and Mary and Kelly work out of. We have a couple other employees who will come and help fulfill orders there, or they'll help fulfill orders at the Boston store. We also make a lot of our own packaging. So Mary on our team will bring her glue gun in, and we did like a Mean Girls parody T-shirt, and she made packaging that looked like a book in collaboration with our designer Dale. But yeah, we've got spaces to retreat. We have tons of coyotes that live in our neighborhood. We've got fisher cats. We've got
you have pets? Do you have any pets?
Turkeys, rabbits. No pets,
okay.
just the animals that live in our yard and live across the street.
When you pitched everybody living in one house together, was everybody on board right from the jump?
Yes.
That's awesome.
They were curious.
It's a great sign.
I mean, once you just start looking on Zillow on things.
Oh, expensive, yeah.
Like you have your pre-approval, and then you take another person's pre-approval, and you're like, oh my God, we could go here, and there's a great, some great schools over here, and this is
for the listeners. Pre-approval is like pre-approved to buy a home, correct?
Yes, pre-approved to get a loan or a mortgage on a home, or.
And you're allowed to. Obviously, you did it. Each person could get that. And y'all combine it and get one big house.
Yeah. Yep.
That's incredible, man.
And just find your people and see if you could do it. There's also nothing wrong with renting too, and there's there's a laundry list of things that come along with owning a place too. There's black mold, there's hot water heaters that leak, there's
everything, man.
There's we've got
roof stuff's the worst. The roof stuff, man.
We had these things called stink bugs that somehow got into our house. These little bugs that look like flat army tanks, and if you crush them, they smell terrible.
Wow.
And you have to catch them and let them out, but they're really gnarly looking.
Yikes.
Yeah, we'll have our cameras, our security cameras at home will catch wild animals at night. Like we've got this fox that's been going on our porch. We've got like I said, family rat. We've got this young coyote on our street that's been checking out some of the new houses on the street,
scoping them out.
But it's cool, man. It's like I said, we got great neighbors that look out for one another, and it's the best collaboration. Just being together. And,
humans.
We always do a second dinner at night. So
really,
we do dinner as a whole household, all 10 of us
every day at the same time.
Yep. And once the kids go to sleep, all 4 kids, my niece, my nephew, are kids, and we'll all text each other like what we're gonna order from Uber Eats or if we're gonna make something. But it's nice. We egg each other on in divulging.
That's cool, man.
Another snack. And getting that 2-3 hours at night with your friends, your family, after the kids go down, and it helps having a routine. You know that people are in bed at the same time every night. And
do you wake up pretty early?
I do out here because of the time difference.
Oh yeah,
but
back home,
I get up I get up early. I got to get the kid. We have to get the kids ready. Probably closer to 7.
That's good. That's decent.
But I'd like to get up at 6. I'd like to get up at 5 and have 2 hours to write, to read, to walk. I just have to learn to go to bed earlier. But there's hard, something so just like, I don't know, romantic about being up at night in the sense of you've got your popcorn, you've got your movies, you've got your ideas, you've got quietness, you've got this very inviting environment to just breathe and catch up, you know.
Are you in a good place right now? I feel like you're in a good place in your life?
Yeah, this is the best place I've ever been right now.
Good, man.
It is. But I still have days like anybody else.
Yeah, I know. We're all humans. I
still make mistakes. I still leave my wet clothes in the wash and forget to put them in the dryer, and they smell like Satan's belly button. And
it happens. We do our best, man.
And then at work, I could be more organized, but
you get there.
I know my priorities, and I know what I'm good at. I know what I need to ask for help for, and I'm very thankful. And
it's been a long journey for you, man.
Long journey, lots of
still going,
learning, lots of healing, lots of trying new things. And I'm thankful for anyone I've ever collaborated with, anyone that I've ever, has ever worked with me or helped out. And even if they made a mistake, I still appreciate everything.
Yeah. You're an optimist, huh?
I'm an optimist. Yep.
Always been?
Yeah.
Same.
It's good. My wife Katie, she's been an auditor for many years.
Yeah, that's a gnarly job.
Her job is to question numbers and to ask why, and she's a New Yorker too.
Scary.
She
people are scared of auditors.
She's taught me that it's not about the quantity of friends, but it's about the quality of friends.
Yeah.
And very thankful for her making me slightly less soft and a little more aware. And she'll turn down 99% of my ideas, but at first I was like, why can't you just love me for me? And then I learned she's the only person that loves me enough to just challenge me to make a good case towards these ideas I might have. Yeah.
How long have you guys been together for now?
Long enough that I forget how long we've been together for. Yeah.
As long as she doesn't hear this. Long time.
No, she forgets too.
She does?
I'd say more than a decade we've been together.
That's nice. Yeah.
Not married, but together more than a decade. Yeah.
Awesome, man.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for being here, man.
No, I love it.
This is awesome, man.
Really, really appreciate it.
Yeah.
I like I said, I never make time for these things. I think I've been on 1 or 2 podcasts forever ago and through the phone or computer, not in person.
This is nice, just hanging and talking about life, man.
Yeah, it's a
I even know how I met you, or like when I met you.
I think we just have so many mutual friends, and we've been in the same world and passed like ships in the night.
Yeah, I agree, man. Yeah,
but it's good.
It's nice to see you out in California.
Yeah,
man.
I love it here. T-shirt weather, I miss it.
You like Cali?
I still get curious, and I look on LoopNet, which is like the Zillow for commercial property, and I'm like, let me just look at these stores over here. But like I said, I don't want to. You know what? If somebody approached me and wanted to franchise a store, I think I'd be open to it.
You think you could ever leave Massachusetts? You think you'd ever move anywhere else?
I don't think so. I need the seasons. I need the cold. I need the
I do miss the seasons.
Magical snowy Christmas. I need to go sledding. Halloween, leaves changing, the smell of fireplaces, the pumpkins. It feels like you're traveling without traveling. It's just the weather, the traditions,
That's a good
the
point,
food
man, actually.
changing,
I do miss that about the East Coast, man.
I love jacket weather, hoodie weather.
We get that here though, but yeah.
Yeah.
But
I
Cali's
love it.
different. I don't know, man.
You got to come back. Where town did you say you grew up in?
I was born in Taunton, then I moved to Newport, Rhode Island.
Okay.
And then I moved to Maryland, then I moved to New York.
Okay.
So I wasn't in Taunton that long.
Yeah.
And then we moved to Newport, and that was for like a good amount of time. At least it felt like it was. But yeah.
How old were you when you left Taunton?
My dad passed when I was 3. I think we moved shortly after that when I was 4.
Okay.
But my dad's buried in Taunton, so I go see my
Okay.
dad and stuff.
Nice.
But yeah, man. Taunton's so different now, man, than it was back then.
Yeah, like you said, a lot of Portuguese people, a lot of great Victorian houses,
Yeah.
big old houses, cool architecture.
Let's go to the Brockton Mall.
Yeah, I used to
Brockton's
go
kind of gnarly, wasn't it?
to. Yeah, it was. Yeah, but they had a pawn shop called Cash Converters,
Okay.
and I would get all this kid Bill, our friend Bill Boris. He was the one of our few friends that had his license before anyone else, and we drive his Volvo over to with him to Cash Converters to get Nintendo games. And
Sick.
yeah, there was a good stash of stuff there. There was a nice photo booth in that mall. There was a few stores that sold good mix albums, mix CDs, DJ Clue.
That's cool. Yeah.
I took boxing lessons in Brockton
Oh, you did?
for like 2 days, and
For 2 days?
yeah, I never went back. I just something happened to my car, and then I became uninterested. But
Do you have any tattoos?
I have one tattoo. I got it from Ink Smith and Rogers in Orlando when I was on tour, or Jacksonville when I was on tour with On Broken Wings. I put too much ointment on it, so it kind of looks like a birthmark, cupcake and crossbones.
Oh, that's what it was?
Yeah, but
That's cool. It's your only tattoo, though.
but it made me make something out of it to make sure I didn't have a tattoo that went to waste, you know. It's a
Yeah.
good little motivator. And
That's cool, man. That's the only one you have. That's pretty awesome.
yeah, I one point wanted to get 3 X's on my lower lip. I just thought there was something so cool about like a hidden tattoo like
Yeah,
that,
man.
and
You can still do it.
I might do that.
I love the
someday.
straight edge shirt. That's like original straight edge Coca-Cola shirt. It's awesome.
Yeah,
man.
yeah, still straight edge.
Do
and-
people like in like a normal life or civilians, or probably even meeting your lady and just her family, like understand what straight edge means?
Yeah, people do. And I'll sometimes hide straight edge references in our shirts, or I'll
That's
have
cool.
the designers that I collaborate with to help hide a hidden X, 3 X's somewhere.
I love it, dude.
Or
That's
like
awesome.
there'll be like we have this one shirt with this crocodile holding a fishing rod with a cupcake on it, and he has X's on his on the buttons on his shirt.
I love that with subliminal.
A lot of subliminal
Extras.
stuff. Yeah,
That's cool, man.
Yep.
I'm sure people know you are. People that know a lot about the company know a lot about you. That straight edge, yeah.
Yeah, man, it's good. It's been a good run, and keeping it going for now, but
It's
trying to
awesome,
be
man.
open to new things, and
Yeah.
and just being a curious human, and
So people can go to your website.
yeah,
Your website.
JohnnyCupcakes.com. At least for now, I'm still doing the social media, so you can.
Is there, you can subscribe
know.
to like an email list too, or something too? On there?
Yeah, there's a mailing list
Yeah,
on the
mailing
bottom
list.
of my website, or if you click on my Linktree link on Instagram, you can
Yeah.
sign up on my newsletter. And if I'm ever doing a pop-up shop tour, I might be in your city or country, wherever you're listening from. If you need any resources or advice, I'll try my best to reply to you. But yeah, just
awesome, man.
hit me up. Visit my shop, 332 Newbury Street in Boston,
man.
and follow your heart, follow your passion, have fun, make the best out of this life. Hug your mom, your dad, or your
Yes.
mother-like figure, even if you don't have a mom, your neighbor, your teacher. Tomorrow isn't promised, so really just gotta make the best.
Yeah, man. Very inspiring, man. Your whole journey, man. It's awesome, man.
A wise man once said, "One life, one chance."
Yes.
So you gotta
That's how
do it.
We do, man. That's how we do it. Well, thank you for being here, and
My
thanks
pleasure.
to listeners.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm excited. 3 hours. This is great, dude.
Oh wow.
My microphone fell off too during the pod. But yeah, thank you for being here. Appreciate you. Appreciate everything you put into the world and all the people you inspired and spread positivity in their lives, man. It's awesome.
Thank
man.
you, brother. Likewise. Much respect.
Thank you, brother. Bye. Peace.
Hey, what's happening?
Dude, you're the best, man. I really appreciate you doing this again.
No worries. Hey,
And
hey, no
you know what I
worries.
was thinking too? We're recording right now. You know what I was thinking? I was thinking, I freaking love talking to Johnny. And we had an amazing phone call yesterday. And for the listeners, what happens when you're the DIY dad and do everything yourself? Sometimes you save things on GarageBand, but you don't rename them. And if you don't rename them or save them, they disappear. And I recorded our conversation over the Josh Brolin episode, which is already out. And all the tracks were off it, but it still said Josh Brolin. And there was a moment where we were talking and I saw the blue line that said Brolin conversation. I just deleted it and I saw us recording. Long story short, it disappeared somewhere. So I really appreciate you jumping back on. Um,
Yeah, no worries.
how was your Thanksgiving?
Oh, it was good. I'm still trying to get the food to exit out of my body whenever I
Did
can.
you take
Yeah,
a
trying to y- yeah, just trying to walk around and drink anything hot. But yeah, I'm good. I'm good.
I
I'm
took
good.
a
How
I
are
took
you?
I
How
took
was your Thanksgiving?
it was pretty chill. I took a nice walk today. I did my PT training in the garage. We had like my son works at Pure Vita, a vegan Italian spot, and we had like their Thanksgiving dinner. And then me and Max and Moon and Chappelle went and saw Gladiator 2 last night at the movie theater. It was pretty.
Oh,
It was cool.
nice.
It was nice, you know. Um,
Good.
I was thinking that old Johnny would be very stressed today because today's Black Friday, and
Oh
you
yeah.
would be stressing about some sort of sale that the Cupcakes is having.
Oh yeah.
Is this like the first Black
Um,
Friday where you're not really stressing about anything?
yeah, I'm not stressed. I mean, I still have product to sell, but
Okay.
I'm fine. I mean, I'm fine with. I actually hope we don't sell as much stuff because I want that extra inventory to use as promotional products for when I'm marketing myself to different events to speak
Yeah,
at
the
or
keynote
to
talks. Yeah.
keynote talks or just fun contests or donations or if we're going to be putting a little press release out about a potential creative agency that I may or may not start. I don't know how much more work I want to take on,
Yeah.
but yeah, I'll let you share if you want to
Yeah, so for the
share my.
listeners, since this episode was recorded, Johnny made a big announcement, a huge announcement that, his store on Newberry Street after 18 years was closing down and you were going to be made possibly having he talked about having a creative agency, a subscription style t-shirt brand, finally finish your book. Johnny Cupcakes will still exist, but it's a new chapter for you. And, you're focused on your family, you're focused on your health. You told me on the call that you diabetes type 1, maybe that's what you said. And
No, pre-diabetic.
so I'm sorry, pre-diabetic. So just
Yeah.
all that stuff and just like, focusing on your health, your happiness, and your family. You're closing one door, opening a new door. And since you announced it, so many people have reached out to you from all around the world for all the things that you're talking about doing in the future. So there's so much love and support for you because you, who I think is like I said on the phone earlier yesterday, was like you were the straight edge, hardcore Willy Wonka. Um, and you make so much positive, wonderful things, and you put those into the world. You dedicate your whole happy life to it. Your mom just passed; she was a big supporter of you, a big part of your journey, and your store got broken into by an employee, and you've dealt with so much pain and all kinds of stress for the last couple years, and it's like we had a great conversation here. We took a nice walk. You said you flew home on the airplane. You thought about the future of your company, all this stuff, and here we are now. You just announced it like 2 weeks ago, I would say, and the response has been incredible.
Yeah, man.
How was that? Was that
And
pretty good?
yeah, yeah. That was great. Thank you.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I've been doing the same thing I've had my brand for 24 years, and I've had my store for 18 years, and I've done over 1,000 pop-up shops, and I love it, but I have good. Well, two things. One, you're right. I've experienced a lot of different types of pain this year,
Yes.
and I still haven't really had a chance to grieve. I lost my mom, and she was my best friend and CFO of my brand for many years, and so lucky I got to work with her, be with her, almost every day. And then, yeah, my store got burglarized by an ex-employee shortly after I lost my mom, and they knew I was grieving too, and it was just like, so yeah, between that and me not really having a chance to grieve, I you know, it, you have something so big, something with that magnitude that happens in your life, you know, and
Yeah.
then you go back to work and somebody is complaining that they got the wrong shirt in the mail, or that, you know, they want to exchange something, and these little tiny problems, even though it's your job and you signed up for that, you're just like, man, I this is the last thing I want to do right now. I really
Yeah.
so there's that aspect to it, and then, you know, I've got so many things that have outgrown my passion for the brand. You know, I still love my brand, but I am also in love with being a dad, and
Yeah,
that
man.
is takes the number one spot. And I also
Absolutely.
love, you know, seeing my family, and just being home and being around, and I could still do that stuff and have my store, and I could have a great manager, and but, you know, the thing is, when you're at dinner, you've got 101 things running through the back of your mind that
Yes.
prevents you from being, it stops you from being fully present. You know, did the store open on time? Did the store close on time? Do we have enough inventory? You know,
Yeah.
what's the weather going to be like this week? I mean, a lot of my sales are dictated by the weather in Boston, and to be a t-shirt brand
It's
in the one of the
crazy.
coldest cities, it's like, so I don't know. I just, I want to give myself grace to
Nice.
take care of my happiness, my health. I want to finish writing my book. I've been 80% finished with it for the past 10 years, and I can't fully dive into that until I remove some things from my melon that are just taking up space. And um, yeah, I feel like I deserve it. I've been doing it
Absolutely.
for so long,
You've been
and it is
given. You've been
weird.
given for so many years. You've been sorry. You've been creating and giving to the world for so many years, and not giving back to yourself and having self care for yourself first and foremost, which you're doing now. And you know you're getting older and you have a family, and your health is so important. And without health, you won't even be here to even have a brand or be there for your kids. So it's like I'm proud of you, and I feel like you must have a huge weight lifted off your shoulders. You know, it's like it's a new chapter for you. You know.
Yeah, man, I'm smiling from ear to ear. My face, I have little spots behind my ears that, you know, that feeling you get when you try to blow up a water balloon, and you realize it was a big mistake, and you get these like tingles behind your ear, or you just had some really sour candy and someone made you laugh at the same time. It's like that feeling. It's a good happy pain. And yeah, I feel so good. And yeah, you know, when I have my events, you know, part of the reason I have such loyal customers from over the years is I've I've stood up for every single. I don't turn anyone away. I
Yeah.
don't ever want to be that person that turns someone away. So I've always put the customer first, and even before my own health and my sleeping habits and my, you know, I have a lot of days where I forget if I ate lunch, and
Yeah.
you know, and I know these are all first world problems in the grand scheme of things, but, you know, my health, I do need to take care of so that I can take care of my family. And um
Yeah.
but yeah, I think it is strange. You know, you feel you do the same thing for so long, it feels like um it can feel like you're making a mistake because it's the only thing that you've been doing so long with such consistency. And it does also feel like, you know, that it's your personality, and that can be very dangerous too. That,
Yeah.
you know, you prevent yourself from doing anything else because you make up these excuses like, hey, this is the only thing I know, and this is all, and I'm really good at this, so
What people know me for. Yeah.
I should just keep doing it. But I don't want to. I don't want to die being the t-shirt guy.
Yeah.
I'm proud of that, and it's brought me to places I've never been to, and it's inspired people. It's allowed us to raise money for a lot of organizations that we've supported over the years. It's allowed me to hire my own mom and my sister and
So
my
cool.
dad and my cousin and my friends, and um, it's is the best thing that's happened to me. But yeah, I have a life outside of work too that has grown, and uh, has taken over for the number one spot. It's no longer my brand. But when I was a single guy, you know, living
living alone, and it was great. And just over the years, I've had more things that have been super special to me, and I don't want to jeopardize those. And and I love speaking at events, at companies. If there's any listeners that
Yeah.
have a company that brings in speakers to inspire the team, whether it's marketing or sales or general inspiration, I love that stuff, and I've been able to really involve my brand in so many different ways. So when I speak at an event, I just did a talk in Vegas this past October, where I, I I never really put anything on my rider. It's like a banana and a tea. But I was like, you know what? I'm gonna this really nice gentleman wanted me to come in early for his event, and I had to make some sacrifices. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna put something on my rider that I've never done. I've never asked for. I said, you know what? If you book me to speak, I need to get delivered to the stage, hammered shut in a wooden crate that's filled with 1,600 colorful plastic McDonald playpen balls. And I want to get delivered to the stage, and, to inspire out of the box thinking. I want to literally climb out of a box. And I did it, and the crowd went wild. Everybody was on their feet. No one knows what was going on. I had little holes drilled in the front of it so I could breathe,
Incredible.
but I would stick my fingers through the holes to kind of creep people out, but also get them excited about what's about to happen. And it was a great way to start the event. I've done other talks where I've made, the room smell like frosting.
Yeah.
And I've done this in some, inexpensive ways. I've done it in some pricier ways where I've given a signal to somebody, and they'll set off these machines that make the room smell like frosting. When I'm talking about how I opened frosting scented t-shirt shops,
It's
and,
amazing.
all these, these suit and tie people that are, really trying to break away from old habits and embrace new creative ways of thinking, problem solving, and marketing and branding. Their eyes light up like pinball machines, and I love that stuff. Sometimes we'll do golden tickets. We usually always do special edition T-shirts. We surprise everybody with. We'll do like collaboration Johnny Cupcakes shirts, whether it's branded around the event or the company.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I love that stuff, and yeah, I love writing so much. I want to I want to immerse myself in that, and um, in my health. I watched my mom pass, and I think the second saddest thing, I mean, maybe equal saddest thing of losing my mom, is also having the realization that I might not be here for my kids someday, and
Yeah.
what can I do immediately to change that, from my time or my health or my happiness. And
Yes.
well,
It's
I
so crazy to think about being a dad. Not to get morbid, but it's like there's gonna be some point where we're not gonna be on the earth with our kids. It's so crazy to think about. Especially me, I'm 54. You're like 20 years old still in my eyes. But do you know what I mean?
appreciate it.
But you know what I mean? Like we feel young, we act young, we dress young, but reality is our body and our minds are getting older, and our kids are getting older, and there's this moment where I always think about like, damn, it's like women, the afterlife, what's going to happen? All that's a whole other conversation. But will I be able to look over my son and my wife, or God forbid, all that stuff, like, because you want to be here forever. Once you have kids, it's like you want to be here forever, watch them grow old, all that stuff, dude.
I do it, and it's so tough because it's like,
'Cause you're kind of
no,
you're Peter Pan to me. Like you get a Peter Pan vibe too, because you're like a big kid too, as well as I am. We're all big kids. You get to do what you
yeah,
love,
and
and
I
create.
love that.
Yeah,
Yeah, I can't go a day without doing a magic trick or
I love that
scaring
shit, dude.
somebody. I need that rush. But yeah, it is. When you become a parent, it's like nothing else matters, but everything matters at the same time,
Yes, man.
because you do have to make money, and you do have to save some for those scary moments, and yeah, it's a lot. So I I have no idea what's going to happen, but I feel very good. I feel very happy, very light. Like I said, it feels like
Yeah.
so much of has been taken off my shoulders. And I, I did announce I might do a subscription online, but
Yep.
sometimes, yeah, I was at dinner the other night with my wife, and we're talking, and do I even want to do a subscription? Do I even want to make t-shirts? I love making shirts for other people's companies
Yeah.
because they're going to buy a chunk up front. We have a minimum, and it's a fun, different canvas to work with. But to having an online shop, there's so many things that I'm not going to miss. I'm not going to miss guessing what sizes to order, and I think you can relate
Oh
on
yeah.
that when you're ordering merch for your
Totally.
band.
Yes.
I'm not going to miss refreshing Shopify, our online shopping platform throughout the day. It's addicting, and it's like, did I make a mistake? Did we send out the email blast? Let me refresh what's going on. And then there's a roller coaster of extreme highs and
Lowe's.
extreme lows
Yeah.
throughout the week, and that it's very addicting. But as I get older, I don't know how much I want to gamble with t-shirts. And then, like I said, letting the weather dictate my sales in the store,
That's
getting
crazy,
calls on
man. I
the
didn't
week.
think about that, dude.
Yeah, that's a big one. And then, getting calls on the weekend when I'm at my kids' sports games to go in and fix the store's speakers. It's like it's just not my priority anymore.
It's
I'd
so
rather
much
have new music.
responsibility to balance that and then being like a dad and a partner. You know what I'm saying? Like there's so much balance in there for people listeners. There's so much sacrifice involved with like doing what you love
It
and being
is
your own boss.
relying on people,
Yeah, man.
trusting people after you were broken into by someone that worked for you.
That's crazy, man.
Um,
That whole
and
story's
then,
crazy, and I just want to say that you're such a sweet soul because you cared about that kid getting in trouble, even though you maybe figured out who it was. We talked on the episode about it, and because you have such a big heart, and this guy hurt you so bad, this person hurt you so bad, you still didn't press any charges. You knew who the person was, and you just kept it moving and didn't. And I mean, there's so much in that itself, what kind of person you are, because you care so much, even for somebody who robbed you, it's like it's incredible, Johnny. Like just like your compassion, you know what I mean? Like it's beautiful, man.
well, thanks, man. And he doesn't know it, but he did the best thing for me, and he allowed me to reflect on what really makes me happy. And through him, burglarizing my store, it's really the best thing that's happened to me.
It's such a it's
Um,
from a positive. I mean, a negative to a positive is incredible, man. You
yeah,
flipped the whole
it
thing,
is.
dude.
I am honestly like just so glad that happened. And but I just always knowing that there's never going to be employees who will ever love the brand more than I do, and
Yeah,
that that's a tough thing, because especially when you have a physical store, those people are, you never know what type of day they're going to have. And I'm lucky. I have some great employees, but you know, I just, and then there's the costs, and then there's the
yeah.
surprise costs for having a shop, and the rent, and things that break and go wrong. And then there's the inventory, and um, I feel like the past 24 years and 18 years being on Newbury Street in Boston, it's like I feel like we have such a hard time just keeping our best-selling products in stock, and it, we lose money because of that.
And just
But
you made it through COVID, all that stuff. You've been through so much at that store, man. It's
yeah,
incredible, man.
2008 recession, you know, that, yeah,
That says a lot
we've
about
been
the
through
brand
a lot.
itself too, man. Being so strong, but also you
It,
mentioned in the call too, like not having to drop merch, a shirt every single week. Just all that, man.
yeah,
Dude.
releasing stuff every week, it's a lot. And I want to still have my same team at the office, and the amazing designers and creatives that I collaborate with. And I just kind of want to shift the focus to working on the book and making my newsletters not be as frequent, but be like, I don't want to sell as many things. I want to give more than I ask for. So,
Yeah,
instead of posting t-shirts all the time on social media, I want to share my wife's recipes. And
yeah.
if you're listening, check out Katie Eats Boston on Instagram and TikTok. She puts up these really cool cooking and baking videos.
That's
So
awesome.
I want to share I want to share all of my friends' talents, and I don't know.
I
I
love
think
that.
yeah, I think that'll be cool. And then, yeah, I want to tighten up my speaking engagements even more. And I want to maybe do this ad agency. I was thinking about taking on 10, 12 companies a year and have them be on retainer. And they can call me anytime, or maybe I give them like 4 calls a year, but I do one Zoom a month, and then once a quarter I can go visit them in person and just be a creative extension of their companies, where I can kind of be a fly on the wall and just write down 100 of ideas for them, and maybe 80 of them they toss out, and 10 they're on the fence on, and the
Yeah,
other 10 might be game-changing things. And I've done it before with industries that I know nothing about, and I just know a lot about people and packaging and
for sure,
creating
man.
really memorable experiences. And I kind of like sometimes I have a hard time cleaning up my mess in our bedroom, but it's like when you go to your friend's house, it's a little easier to clean up after them. And I play this game with myself when I go out to eat, or if I go shopping. I always look around, and I say, man, if this was my place, I would design it this way. And I would always have my story on the wall, because it creates context and value to what you
Yeah,
sell. And I would change the packaging to be a little more on theme and on brand with the company's name. And I would da 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 da. And I just keep going. And by the time I leave a restaurant, I'm like, I kind of want to hand in an invoice to somebody, but
it's
I don't know.
crazy, like seeing life through your eyes, because you are such a creative with like looking at people's T-shirts, like you said, different places you go to. It's like when skateboarders drive by a bench or stairs or a railing. Like people see those as normal things. Like civilians see that as like just normal things you need to use every day, but skaters see it totally different. They imagine it totally different. What kind of tricks they could do on it, all that stuff. They see life through such different. I don't know. It's interesting eyes, and that's you too.
Yeah, yeah, and I think yeah, it doesn't have to be the same type of industry. You just, yeah, like you said, you look at things differently, and um, that perspective can be a game changer for somebody.
Yeah,
But I really hope anyone who's listening, I hope that that you can do anything, and you can learn how to do anything, and it's also okay to do nothing, and it's okay to make those big changes that you might be you might have been on the fence on for a few years. And I hope this motivates you to switch things up, because tomorrow isn't guaranteed, and you need to do what makes you the best version of you. And if that's taking a break, or doing slightly less things, or asking for help, or talking to a therapist or a friend, or just
yes,
taking your health a little more serious.
oh
There's
yeah.
so many things that are more important than sometimes those things that were originally the top spot for us, that used to really fill our buckets. But as we grow, different things come into play, and we need to take those serious.
And your priorities change, and your life changes, and the future changes. And I'm sure, like building up to like releasing that post and posting it, like you've been thinking about this for a while, obviously, but then finally like pressing it and putting it to the world to see, that must have been like, was a little stressful, or are you excited?
Oh, I was so excited.
Yeah.
I think I was a little too excited, because I put some stuff in there that I was like, like I said, maybe I don't want to do a subscription. Maybe I don't
Yeah.
even want to make T-shirts anymore. I don't know that people need another T-shirt, and I don't know that I want to hold myself accountable to having to come up with ideas with my team and in collaboration with my team. But it's still a lot of stuff. I think I just need a clean break. And
I
you know
think so.
I
I think so too. Like a couple months, even maybe how long it takes. I was like, don't make any shirts. It's like totally this. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't
just
know.
a clean slate. And then I'll still do some pop-up shops, and I think that might make my shirts more valuable, and
Yeah,
I think
less is
I think
more.
more people will come out. And I think the same feeling too when it relates to touring. It's like,
Yeah,
the less you play some places, the bigger your next show is going to be,
you're
and the
missed.
more merch you're going to sell,
Yeah, dude.
and the more you're going to love it, the more you're going to that slice of pizza that you've been dreaming about is going to taste even better that you haven't had in so long. And
It's so true, man.
and then you
Especially if
get
they
to,
disappear for a second. People miss you and they want you back. And it's like, yeah, man, it's true.
so I think, yeah, and if I do my book tour, which I'll definitely do, I will, I'll probably bring some merch on the road with that.
Sure.
And I still do random things. Like if I'm in New York City, I'll probably bring a duffel bag of t-shirts, and I'll post on, Instagram, like, hey, I'm on the corner of this street and that street. The first 10 people to find me will get a special edition t-shirt. You don't even have to buy it. They're going to be free. I'll probably do stuff like that just to keep keep the magic going.
I love that. Are you sleeping better now?
I am. Yeah, I am a really good sleeper. I fell
Okay.
asleep at a rave once, and I don't even do drugs. And when it's time to go to sleep, it's time to go to sleep.
So you can you can shut your brain off easy.
Oh, easily.
Wow, that's incredible,
I went to
dude.
Australia. Yeah, I went to Australia once, and that flight felt like a 45-minute flight because of how good I slept.
Oh, I'm so jealous, dude. I hate flying. Damn.
But I am sleeping even better than I was because I know what's coming, and I still need to find somebody to rent my space. And there's been a few people who've reached out to me, a couple cool brands that I'll share with you outside of this call.
That's
and then
awesome.
A couple local companies. I'm going to meet someone tomorrow morning at my shop, and then the next day, and then it's going to be interesting to see what goes in there. But there was a bakery that almost signed my lease, and it would have been so cool because
perfect
for Johnny Cupcakes to start selling cupcakes to be the end of my chapter of my store would be really.
And then a
really
real bakery
funny.
goes in there. That would incredible, man. What a transition, dude.
I know. So we'll see. But it's just, I can't stop smiling and pacing around and writing down ideas and
getting your steps in.
Getting my steps in. And I think I do need to, I think there's going to be a couple of people that will have to just learn a new flow, including myself. But we're going from doing the same thing, not every year, but every week. We release new shirts every week, sometimes twice a week.
It's crazy, man.
To switch from that to do something a little more refined, a little more corporate, a little more personal, I think I think it might be a little getting used to for a couple people.
Of course,
but I have faith in them, and if we can create this magic with something as crazy as a little t-shirt with a cupcake on it, I think we can do anything.
Absolutely. What was the most employees you had at one point?
At one point, I had over 40 employees. I had 5 stores, and like I said, we've done over 1,000 pop-up shops.
Crazy.
And when I think about the pop-up shops, I'm like, man, more than 90% of those pop-up shops, I did not pay any money for rent, because I'll post on social media and say, hey, it's Johnny, and going to be doing a tour. Can you host a pop-up shop?
That's
Let
cool.
me know. And I've done them in people's backyards. I did one at this Portuguese barbecue in Fall River, Massachusetts.
Fall River, wow, it's amazing. That's awesome.
And then I did one at like Facebook's headquarters. I did one at a coffee shop. I did one on the street illegally. So I like that.
That's cool. I love that too.
It gives you a story to share and keeps the cost down, and allows you to use that money to be even more innovative, and it's less pressure, a lot less pressure.
And how many employees at the very end? Like, how many employees did you have now?
Well, in my store, I have about 6 people, but they're all most of them are in college or they're working part-time. So this isn't. They've all had a date when they're going to move on. So and I've been very transparent with them, and hey, showing the shop to this person, and this person didn't work out, and I will have, if they want it, I can probably find some things for them to do, and if they want help, I'm happy to recommend them to other businesses and write them a really great recommendation.
It's amazing, man.
But
What
yeah,
about employees in the brand, like the brand itself, not the store?
in the brand itself, I have 2 people
Wow.
at my office, and they work from home half the week. And one of them, Kelly, she's been with me for over 20 years.
Wow.
She used to work in my store. She's my sister's best friend and grew up across the street from us.
That's awesome.
She would, when her parents were at work, she'd be over, eating snacks at our house that we still laugh about because, my mom we'd go food shopping and my mom would get the really good Dunkaroos or Shark Bites.
Dunkaroos, yes.
And when we'd come back home from, food shopping, I'd be like, man, all of my sister's friends are going to come in and ravage these snacks. I need to stash like a few of them in some hiding spaces. So we get a good chuckle out of that. But Kelly's amazing. Her dad, rest in peace, Bill, he passed away, but he was the coolest guy on the block. He would have his garage open and he had so many vinyl records and he would just play music and invite people into his house. And then the other person who's still with me is Mary, who my mom met at a party, one of those party stores. I think my mom was picking up balloons or something and met this really nice woman and was like, hey, do you want to work at Johnny Cupcakes? And
no way.
And she's been with us for a very long time. And both of them, I love them so much, and they do so much for the brand and wear a lot of different hats. And
that's cool, man.
They're the best.
Well, we talked on the phone. Your mom's definitely proud of you and was a big part of this, big part of your whole brand for you and worked with you. And she's probably happy, like she's seen her son like make a different move. And I don't know, for sure, man.
I know she is. I get little signs each day. I don't know.
I believe in that. I believe that's real too, man.
I do.
Same.
And the thing that I've been loving about doing my talks, if you've seen me, if someone's listening and they've seen me speak before, if you haven't seen me speak in the past 6 months, you have to come out to a talk. But my mom is such a big part of my talk, and I'm able to share all these photos of her costume contests. And her and my dad, they're both super creative, loving people, and I get to, I feel like they're with me all the time because they're in my presentation. And I've been sharing my mom's Portuguese kale soup recipe at the end of my talks with the audience. And
that's amazing.
And she's the best. And I know she'll be proud. And
of course she is, man. You lived at home.
Yeah.
You lived at home to what age? I think you said you moved out late, right?
Yeah. When I went to college for the short stint that I went to, I didn't want to move out of my parents' house. I loved my parents. I didn't want to. I didn't want to leave. So I stayed there until I think I was 23, 24.
Well, that's good.
And I bought my first house at about that age.
So you moved out and bought your first house. That's incredible, man.
Yeah,
wow.
It was an old fixer-upper.
I remember that we talked about in this episode, I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
My son's 21 at home still. I'm like, stay here as long as you want, man. I love having my son here. Like, I'm gonna have the empty nest syndrome. I'm not looking forward to.
Yeah, I love being around people and living alone. And my favorite part was when people were in the house. A lot of times I was kind of lonely in there, but I think I earned getting a house after sleeping on so many floors on tours and at Flying J truck stops and
Flying J showers. Oh yeah.
Oh God, yeah. and you had to sneak in at the right time because that's supposed to be for truckers. You can't be using those.
It's true, dude. It's true. It's a good point, actually.
There's a what is it? A code of law?
Ethics. Yeah, code of law. Yeah.
Code of ethics. Yeah, you got to go by. But yeah, I feel like a new person. And
this is some real adult shit we talked about the pod because we have that young spirit, but this is some real adult things. It's like, this is your baby. Obviously you had this for 24 years and your baby's growing up now, and it's gonna, it's time to you move on. You know what I mean? It's interesting, man.
It's interesting too when you know that. Like I know I could keep selling T-shirts,
Yeah.
but in order to keep selling T-shirts, it's a double-edged sword. You have to keep planning, and in order to keep planning, you need to keep having staff, and you need to keep having
man,
office space sometimes, and meetings, and before you know it, the whole year has gone by, and it prevents you from doing other things. So, at when do you cut it? When do you cut things off? When it is enough enough?
Would you come home from all those days and just still be working at home, like your mind spin? You said that the dinner table, your mind would be spinning, but would you be on your phone? Would you be like work when you're home? Are you trying to be present, but your mind is Johnny Cupcakes going crazy, right?
Sometimes I think in recent years I've been a lot better. Like
That's good.
I mostly work. I'm mostly home. I'm mostly working from home. I've got a great team that are doing the fulfillment. And when I had the store, which I still have right now, until we get someone to fill the space, but my staff would help fulfill online orders and that.
Yeah.
As long as I'm on the weekly or at least every other week, I can be on our Tuesday creative calls.
Yeah.
And I still have my freelance designers that we work with that are, I guess I would consider them full-time staff, but they're kind of full-time freelancers. Being on those calls is good. Like I said, Mary and Kelly, they run a tight ship, and I'm so lucky to have them. But
awesome.
Even with all that, it's still a lot of time. It's still a lot of costs, and it's just that space that it takes up, because I can't help but to open up the Shopify app to hit refresh. I can't help to look at an email blast and be like, man, we should make the next one bigger and try all these things. And I can't help but to feel the pressure of having to sell something on social media, or else I failed for the day, because I know that we can make more money and it's always up to me. And knowing that people's livelihoods, they depend on the brand making more money. So I need to keep posting, which means I have to look at my phone when I wake up and before I go to bed. And
it's so draining.
And then you go down the whole rabbit hole. Yeah. And then it's just, it's
over now. It's the past now, bro. Now it's over. Now it's moving forward.
It is. I think sometimes I kind of want to just have an 800 number.
That's kind of sick.
I update. I'll update once a month. I'll tell you what's going on.
That's pretty cool, actually.
If there's a special T-shirt of the month, you might get a clue or a puzzle you have to solve in order to get it, or you have to send away a money order or something difficult. So think about that. I kind of want to write a publication, like a quarterly publication at times that I can send out to people. But
they could do a blog like how Bobby Hundreds has a blog. I think that's amazing. I think people would love that.
Man, I used to have one. I wrote every day.
You bring it back, and that'll inspire you to journal and work in your book. I think that's good, man. I think it'd be kind of cool if you did that. My opinion, but because Bobby Hundreds writes about current things, the Kendrick Drake thing. He writes about current things going on in the world, not just You could talk about cooking. You could talk about all these other things. Like there's so many different layers to you. Not just Johnny Cupcakes. Like you said, you're a human being. So there's other things that you love. You could talk about music. You could just start writing, and that maybe help. I think it'd be kind of cool, man. Like almost like an open journal, man, for people.
I do too. That's a great idea. Yeah, yes. I think that would be good, because I do that every day with almost every day on LinkedIn. But I think
on the Johnny Cupcakes page would be awesome, man. Check in on the blog. This is what I'm up to. This is what I'm working on. These are some things I'm listening to this week, or this is what I cooked this week. I learned how to cook, all that stuff. Just like more like I'm a human, dude.
Yeah, and I think maybe I should get some advice from Bobby, but
man.
I pay a monthly fee to read extra posts from Bobby on his Substack, and I don't even know that I'm signed up to anyone else's Substack.
That's so cool.
To support him, and
I love Bobby Hundreds, dude.
Maybe I do that. Yeah, he's such a special guy, and he too, him and Ben, they've got so much more to give to the world. And,
absolutely.
I love seeing them do things outside of their brand.
They're working on movies and docs now. Ben's got his cooking food thing.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, not
Um,
to blow up the spot, but my son is up for my son has an audition to be the drummer for that movie, The Drummer Sublime.
oh, I love that.
So
I love
cross your
that.
fingers, all the listeners, please. Like it's happening
Yeah.
soon. Yeah, Bobby looked out
Oh,
and put Max up on the list. It's really sweet. So
yeah. Good for them. They've got so much more to give than
also,
t-shirts, but that's, you know,
yeah, that's another inspirational. The hundreds, man. Yeah, because they've seemed to like make it through a pandemic and the highs and lows of street brands and all that stuff, dude.
yeah, they've always been good to me over the years, and I've kind of, it's cool. I'm like in the safe zone because I'm not really a streetwear brand. So, um, yeah, I feel like I've kind of been, what is it, Sweden, Switzerland? Um, yeah, they've invited me to do work at their office when I
That's
was
cool.
building out my LA
I
shop.
mean,
And
you're a streetwear brand, but you stayed in your lane. You did your own thing. It wasn't. That's what's special about Johnny Cupcakes. It's something totally original, but yeah, obviously it's t-shirts and it's a streetwear thing, but it's beyond that. You know what I'm saying? It's a whole experience. So I think it's totally different, but it's in that genre for sure.
it is, and the customers there, you know, you've got 5-year-olds, you've got 95-year-olds. I've got
Yeah,
families that send me holiday postcards every year after year, and it's
that's incredible,
all of
dude.
them, you know, and their pets wearing Johnny Cupcake
I
shirts
love
and
that,
sitting by a
dude.
fireplace, and it's, oh, it's the
Damn.
sweetest. This one family, the Berubes, you know, they're great, and um, yeah, there's so many families. I could spend a
Yeah,
year
it's
talking
amazing,
about
dude. We're
them.
already doing a part two right now on this phone call. We could do part two
I
and
know.
three, but no, I mean like the lives that you've touched and inspired and are going to continue to do with your next chapter and all the people who love and support you, man. It's a beautiful thing you created and you did it all yourself and sacrificed a lot, and now you can be focused and healthy and happy and traveling and coming out here and hanging out with me and being with your family and going to Germany
Yeah,
tomorrow. It's sick, man. It's awesome.
yeah.
You earned all that, dude. I know it's gonna be some sort of guilt of like probably like leaving that in the past because you feel so obligated and responsible for so many people who still support and love you, but also they'll support you and your decision as a person, as somebody they look up to as a human. And I think that they'll be stoked to see your next move. But I know it's gonna be some sort of like hard for you to let go in a sense because it's your baby. It's something massive that
It
you
is,
created. You know, it's
and
wild.
I'll still do a couple little things, and I'll keep my trademark and all that
Of
stuff. But
course,
but yeah, you know, the support, the phone calls and the text messages and the amount of comments on that post was
yeah,
just
man.
something I haven't seen in almost ever, and um,
It's gotta feel good, dude.
it does, it does. I feel like Johnny Cupcakes, the person, has outgrown Johnny Cupcakes, the brand, and I
Yeah,
need to cut the chains and cut the, you know, just let myself explore and find myself again. There's other things that I don't even know about that I might be good at, or I might not even be good at, but they might just make me feel really happy and fulfilled. And you know, I want to take cooking lessons. I need to
yeah.
learn to make more than pancakes and sweet potatoes at the house. I need to step my game up. Yeah, my partner Katie is, she's the best, and she's, you know, there's a lot of great cooks in our house, and you know, my mother-in-law every other week she does spaghetti carbonara,
Amazing.
and then she does her, yeah, she's got a bunch of treats up her sleeve, and same with my sister-in-law and my wife Katie, um,
It's like,
and her dad
go
has a
ahead.
chili recipe that he'll do. He'll do once a
Nice.
year. He'll do his chili, um, and then my brother-in-law, he's like the grill master. But everyone's always coming home with treats from somewhere. And I think, yeah, I think the other thing too, if anyone listening, I hope you can keep an open mind about community living and having a compound, and
Yeah, if you listen
you
to this
know,
episode, you talk all about that. It's incredible, man. I think that's so cool, man. So smart
it's a
too.
lot. It's a lot of work and a lot
Yeah,
of money and responsibilities to get a house. Why not put a couple pre-approvals, two, three,
yeah,
four
it's smart.
pre-approvals together? Find your people that you can coexist with, and or design a space where you can have your privacy if you need it, but you can all share a kitchen and a living room,
Yeah,
and
I was just thinking
it's
too that
good.
I was just thinking that you're becoming an adult and you're growing up into and the brand itself has grown up, and it's kind of like leaving the nest and going on its own. It's in the world now. Everything you made still exists, the website, everything, and it's going to have its own experience, and people can still find out about the brand. But you've grown out of it, and kind of, it's interesting. It's two different Johnny Cupcakes. I mean, there's the brand, and then there's you, the human, and then that one's ran its like grew up, and now it's moved on, and I don't know.
I know, like
it's
you
cool.
said, there's Peter Pan and Peter Pan Shadow.
Yeah.
I can't.
We could talk. Dude,
Yeah.
when you come back out to LA, we're gonna have a whole other podcast with you because I could talk to you for hours. I want to give a shout out to Joe Invasion Brand, the producer and editor of this podcast, which is such a small world because you guys are homies from back in the day.
Yeah,
It's
love Joe.
so
We were
cool.
MySpace buddies. We might have even been on
That you met on MySpace. Yeah, he told me that. Yeah.
maybe even Friendster, maybe. But
Friendster.
yeah, when Bathing Ape when no one really knew about Bathing Ape yet, and they hadn't been in the States. They were about to open their first store, and we were planning on like going out to wait in line for that. And I remember, I took a flaming bus from Boston to wait in line, and I bought a sweatshirt that didn't even fit me because I had to get something from that store. And
Damn. He told me you mentioned something on this episode, a coffee shop that he brought you to, actually. You mentioned on this podcast, but he brought you to it in Long Island or somewhere, dude.
Oh, I wonder if we went to, might have been Witch's Brew.
That's it. That's when he brought you to it. Yeah, he told me. He's like, bro, I took him there. He's been going crazy on this. Shout out to Joe Vasion. He's so excited about this episode because you guys go back. It's so cool. Small world.
Such a loving, real dude. Yeah, he's the best.
Queens, New York. Damn, John, this is great, man. And the listeners are gonna be so psyched. This is almost like my Pat from Have Heart episode I dropped 2 weeks ago. It was a 5-hour episode. I was so nervous to drop it. It's one of my most incredible reacting videos. I got so many messages. He sent me like so many screenshots with so many positive messages. He said it was the best reaction of any conversation we had. I was emotional. I called him up. I was like, this is crazy. But it was 5 hours. Ours is like 3.5 or 4. But I was just so nervous about dropping something like longer than a Rogan podcast, which is usually 3. But people love these conversations. It's just real. It's friends talking. But this has been like, I feel like people they really get to know you from this episode, man.
I do too. I've probably only done like maybe like 2 or 3 podcasts, and I've never and it's never been as big and open in depth as this.
No, dude, I feel like I'm close to you as a friend. I'm close to you. I don't know. I'm just so psyched that we connected and had this conversation. And when this comes out, you'll be in Germany with your family, enjoying family time and Christmas time and all that stuff. It's awesome, man.
Yeah, it's going to be a nice treat to see all the reactions. And if you listen to it, please share what if you've been inspired or you picked up anything.
I'll be sending you messages all week. Yeah, dude.
And then I'm, to find out more about where the heck I'm going. I feel like I'm Carmen Sandiego or Waldo. Or Pokemon. You gotta catch me. I've got a newsletter in my profile link or on my website that you can sign up for.
JohnnyCupcakes.com, Instagram, all that.
Yep. Yeah, all that, for better or for worse. I still am the guy behind it all, the social stuff. But yeah, man, I
appreciate you, man. I love you too, brother. I appreciate it. Thanks for everything you put out in the world for people and all the lives you inspired and are going to continue to in the next chapter of your life. And you're so fucking young and you did so much already, and you have an awesome family and they're psyched. I'm sure they're pretty psyched to have you, have more time with you, and you'll be fully present, no stressing about the website or sales or Black Friday like today, all that stuff, dude. You've been there, done that.
Yeah.
Dude. Paid your dues, like
new chapter. And I hope you can meet my dad someday too.
I would love
to. Him out to Cali. I was just with him yesterday. But it's gonna be so cool to just go out and see you without having it to be around a work trip that I'm already there. Like, I can't wait to just be more intentional and more present. And
absolutely, I can't wait to have you in my cold plunge finally, in my sauna.
Oh my God. I'll do it. That'll be my first one.
Yeah, first time for everything, right?
Yeah.
Well, this is our phone call. I'm still going to put on the podcast. This is so good.
Hey, appreciate it.
I really appreciate you. Love you, man. Safe travels with your family. Yeah, man, this has been great. I'm glad thanks for letting me call you back and actually record it correctly. And as we sign off, the world has just listened to this whole episode. I hope you guys loved it. You can reach out to Johnny on like his Instagram or check his website. And yeah, man, thank you so much, brother.
Yeah, you got it. And remember, if you're listening, remember that real success is being happy doing what you love.
100%. 100%, man. That's that PMA, brother. You know what's up.
That's right. That's right.
All right, bro. I love you.
All right. Love you too, buddy.
I'm going to save this and upload it right now. Okay, bye.
Bye.
Peace, bye. I always ask my guests if they have any regrets. I personally don't have any regrets. Even when it comes to my tattoos, I have the silliest tattoos. Even my ET on my leg, it's still a childhood memory for me, and I love it. I've had tattoos on top of tattoos strictly because I wanted more tattoos. I started getting tattoos when I was 18. I'm 52 now, and I can't stop. I've had laser treatment before on something on my arm. It's 4 tattoos on top of each other. And that experience at that place was pretty fast. It was pretty cold. It was in and out, swipe the credit card. Don't really tell me much. Didn't give me much details or anything was going to happen. So I never went back. So as of most recently, I'm so lucky enough to have had 2 sessions at Removery Tattoo Removal. My tattoo on my arm that looks like a big black blob is now super light. I've had 2 sessions. I have a long road ahead of me. None of this stuff happens overnight. You cannot take a tattoo up in one sitting. You have to be patient. And it's painful. They ice you up. It's super fast. To me, it felt like a bunch of rubber bands. But what's more painful than that is looking at something on your body that you think you're stuck with for the rest of your life. That sucks. But now for me, I'm really happy I started this journey. I'm slowly going to get this tattoo removed. I never thought in a million years to have any kind of real estate on my arm. I don't even know what I want, but it's exciting. I'm so honored to announce that One Life, One Chance podcast is now with Removery. Call 866-934-4570 or go to removery.com. Use TobyH20 and get $100 off your first session. One of the most experienced tattoo removal companies in the world. Over 600,000 removal treatments done, 100 locations, US, Canada, and Australia. State-of-the-art Pico-Way laser technology, cryotechnology to reduce any discomfort. This is so exciting for me because all I do in these podcasts is talk about tattoos. From day one, if you've been listening to this podcast, talk about tattoos, talk about getting removed, talk about getting covered up. So this is such a perfect fit for me. Definitely check out One Life, One Chance podcast, episode 281. I have Carmen Brody, Mike McTurnan, and Dustin Ortle from Removery. And this is an over 2-hour conversation. People had submitted questions. It's an incredible conversation breaking down the do's, the don'ts, the fears, process, the results, everything you could imagine about getting a tattoo removed. It's all in this podcast. It's an incredible episode. I appreciate them all coming out for it. So check that out if you want to learn more about Removery and what it's like to get a tattoo removed. Once again, go to removery.com or call 866-934-4570. Use my code TobyH20 and get $100 off. These guys are located everywhere. Try it out.